All right, ladies and gentlemen, I haven't done one of these Titan videos in a while, but I got encouraged because we did the one. I was on Stephen Rose's channel, who is with me here.
Yes,
Uh,
sir.
we did it on his channel with the Titans wearing the Oiler jersey, and they lost to the Texans, and they got their ass whooped last weekend by the Texans, 26-3. Um, I mean, let me ask you, Stephen. I have to ask you this first and foremost. Do you think the Panthers made a mistake not drafting C.J. Stroud? Because to me, C.J. Stroud's the future. He's definitely what you guys need in with the Texans going forward.
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. I got to eat crow. I wanted Bryce Young, and I took the bullet. I said C.J. Stroud was gonna be a bust. This and that. Product Hill was one that told me this guy has mechanics of John Elway. And again, I'm not gonna sit here and lie. I wanted Bryce Young, but then after the fact that Bryce Young was taken, I said, well, I guess the next guy on the board would be C.J. Stroud. I'll be fine with whoever you give me. But I did want Bryce Young, and I'm definitely going to eat crow for that. Because, I mean, obviously you don't know what these players are going to be like in the NFL. So when you draft them, it's just kind of like crabs in a bucket. It's just like you either get lucked out or you don't. Like Brady was a 6th-round draft pick. You didn't know he was going to be who he was today. So it's just kind of a risk. But, yeah, I am going to eat crow. I wanted Bryce Young, but instead I got C.J. Stroud, and it ended up panning well for us. So, yeah, I'm grateful.
Well, I tell you what, though, you guys better. To me, I think D'Amico Ryans is definitely a good head coach for you guys going forward. I mean, I see a lot of potential with that Houston team, and to me though, and I know that you're the same way with this, Steven. I've been tired. I've been sick and tired for years of people telling us that our teams are not any good, that the AFC South sucks, that we got nothing going on. But look at what we got in the future. We got Will Levis here with the Titans, C.J. Stroud, and Trey Lawrence, and possibly Quentin. Whenever the Colts quarterback gets back, we got 4 young, good quarterbacks right here in this division.
Oh, absolutely. These teams are up in a rebuild, and I think people have been knowing that for a while. We haven't made the playoffs in 3 years since Deshaun Watson decided to sit out. Now we got C.J. Stroud. We have an opportunity to make the playoffs. I actually had us winning 5 games this year, and we won 9. So people say, well, you'd be upset if Texans don't make the playoffs. I'm like, no, because they overseeded our expectations. They won 9 games. C.J. Stroud has some of the best numbers, possibly Rookie of the Year candidate. I think it's a win-win regardless of what the outcome is on Saturday. We're going to play a really good Colts team that had already beaten us earlier in the year. We got to play them again in Indy. So obviously a win, we get a wild card berth. The Jacksonville loss to the Titans, which I'm not going to lie to you, Kev, no disrespect. I don't see Jacksonville losing that game. I think they're going to play to win. Even with the CJ Beathard in, I think they'll have just enough to win. And but if they lose, hey, all power to us. We win. But of course, the Colts win, they get the division too. So there's kind of like a 3-man race for the end of it. But at the end of the day, I think regardless if Texans get in or not, I will be happy with where my expectations. 5 wins, we got 9. To me, that's a win in itself, and for our future, I didn't even have us making the playoffs this year. So I'm happy just wherever, regardless. But if they get in, of course, I'm going to be excited, So
I'll be honest with you. I hate Jacksonville just a little bit more than I hate the Texans. So, in a lot of ways, I want us to play spoiler against Jags so you guys can get in.
Absolutely. Or the Colts.
I'm just I'm at that point now where I look at C.J. Stroud and I see a young John Elway.
That's the same thing Chronicle Hill told me. Same thing.
Yeah, with his mechanics and everything. Now, I think the reason why people were a little bit weird about C.J. Stroud coming into the draft was because he didn't do really well on that quarterback IQ test. And I'm sitting there thinking, you know what? Who cares about an IQ test? It cares about what you do on the field.
Facts.
Day in and day out. And I mean, we got somebody else coming in here, Mr. Ogden here. Hey, Matt, welcome to the show.
What's up?
What's going on, Matt?
Now you guys got to be pretty excited too because
Yeah, we win this game against the Bears, we're in. I don't know if so it's either we get the 7th seed or we get the 6th seed if the 49ers beat the Rams.
Which I believe they will. Well, the Niners did lock up the number 1 seed. So the question
Well,
is,
I heard something about they're gonna not rest all their. They're gonna rest some of their starters, but not all. I know they're definitely gonna rest McCaffrey, but I still think they can beat the Rams without McCaffrey if they put Purdy in.
And to be honest with you guys, I have to before I go more into the Titans discussion, I just want to say to all you Alabama fans, stick it right there, bitch.
Oh, we did a video on that yesterday, me and Prodigal Hill. If you go watch the first half of the Bama game, of the Texas game, we covered all that in the video. We talked about all that.
So who do you guys got then winning it next week? You got Washington or Michigan?
Michigan,
absolutely, yeah.
The reason why I believe it because they're going to go with the Michigan storyline of Jim Harbaugh getting buried, and not to mention the fact that he's got the Astro storyline about the whole infamous sign stealing. So he's basically the Houston Astros of college football. So it'll be enough. And plus, even though I like Washington and I like that whatever that Phoenix kid or whatever, I don't know his name, but he's probably the best quarterback going in the draft. But it makes sense to push Michigan. A guy that Tom Brady used to attend that school. Michigan, I don't remember if they've ever had a championship in. I don't know when the last. When was Michigan's last title?
I think 97.
Oh God! Well, then it makes sense for Michigan to win. It makes college football look good, and plus, it's going to promote the storyline for Harbaugh's 10-year contract or whatever offer. So it fits along the line.
Do you guys think Harbaugh stays with Michigan, or do you think he goes to the NFL after this?
I think if he wins, he stays.
So you think Harbaugh's going to stay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, they both have a long drought, though. I think Washington hasn't won a national championship since '91, and Michigan hasn't won since '97, so it should be interesting.
Oh, definitely.
But the reason why I called this the Titans rant discussion is that
let's go into that because of the title. I don't want to.
Yeah, I was talking to Steven about this about 2 weeks ago. I have a huge issue because I'm a part of a bunch of Titan groups on Facebook. I have a huge issue with some of you. Oh, we like the Titans when they play and they do really well, and then when they're losing, they're like, "Oh, fire this guy, fire that guy, get rid of this guy, get rid of that guy." I'm like, I look at it like this: this ain't Madden, boys. Right. If you guys feel like you could do better, go ahead and be a coach somewhere. Get your ass off the couch, take away the donuts and the chips and the beer, and see if you can coach this Titan team better than Mike Vrabel can. And Mike Vrabel, I'm at this point where I used to take up for Vrabel, but now I'm starting to think that this team needs an offensive-minded coach. And I used to be that old school kind of guy where I felt like defense and the running game is what can get you to the dance. But honestly, we live in a league now, and you guys know better than anything. It's a passing league.
You got to score points.
Yeah. Right. Absolutely. And I feel like Mike Vrabel, has that hard-headed attitude. He wants to do what he wants to do. And I feel like, I don't know if he will be fired or not. Some people are asking me if I think he will. I don't think he will, but I do know for sure that he hates losing. He said that in the press conference. I'm looking at it like this. I think Vrabel's trying to get away from here. And I feel like Vrabel wants that coaching position in New England.
Wow.
And that's where my gut's going with this. I feel like, because it's going to be really weird because I heard Mike Tomlin's name's on the hot seat. It's going to be weird not seeing him if Pittsburgh got rid of him, that would be weird not seeing Mike Tomlin on the Pittsburgh Steelers. But it's going to be weird not seeing Belichick in a New England Patriot thing. But now I see the Titans need an offensive-minded kind of guy because the way the Titans play games now, I don't
Yeah.
care if you line up as quarterback right now. I don't care if it's Patrick Mahomes. You're going to get murdered out there
Yeah.
right now with that offensive line. I mean, like Peter Storosky has done a good job as a rookie as a left guard, but Andre Dillard, who came from as a backup for the Eagles, absolutely fucking sucks. He stinks. He's garbage. And I feel like the Titans are going to have a lot of cap space.
Get an offensive lineman.
We're gonna have a draft. We're right now. If the draft happened right now, we would be in the top 10, but we wouldn't be in the top 5.
Maybe get a good offensive lineman that way too.
I feel like if we lose again and a couple of teams help us, the Titans could probably get in that top 5.
Maybe.
Now, some of us are thinking some Titan fans want us to get Marvin Harrison Jr.
That's a huge. He's going top 5 though, probably.
Yeah, he'll be way picked up before we.
I think he's going to go to the Cardinals, to be honest.
Yeah, he'd be picked up way before we can get a chance to get him.
Yeah, there's no way.
Let me ask you guys this: do you guys think that defensive-minded coaches play well in the NFL, or do you think offensive-minded coaches are supposed to be kind of where it's at? Because you look at a guy like Andy Reid, who's an offensive-minded coach, 2 Super Bowl rings with Kansas City. Then you have D'Amico Ryans. He's kind of more of a defensive. He's more of a defensive-minded coach, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you have Matt. You have Matt LaFleur in Green Bay, who's an offensive-minded guy.
Yeah.
I hate to say this, but the Titans need, if you're going to build a new stadium, which you need to be on the winning side of that, and you also need to show these fans that you got the guy in Will Levis. The kid can ball.
Yeah.
You get him an offensive line where he has enough time to throw the football down the field. That kid's got a cannon for an arm. There's no, but he needs an offensive-minded coach to go with that. And right now, I feel like Vrabel is not the right guy for Will Levis.
Are they going to let him go then? Is that what the talk is?
The rumor is that some guy in New England who's really close to the Crafts, who works for the Boston, which one of those new papers, says that New England wants to do everything they can to get Mike Vrabel. They're even willing to trade a first-round pick to get Mike Vrabel.
Yeah, that'd be something. If they give you a first-round pick for I would definitely take it. Fuck it. But the Patriots be dumb doing that thing because they're not going to get their quarterback then. Because honestly, they haven't got the right quarterback they have right now. I don't think they're going to have it with Zappy or Mac Jones. They got to definitely keep that draft pick because if they don't, they're going to be fucked.
I look at it like this: if New England, and this is me, if I'm Red Carthon and I get the phone call and it's from New England and they say, "Hey, we're willing to trade our first-round pick for Mike Vrabel," and I know I'm going to get 2 first-round picks to fit holes on this team.
Yeah,
I'm making that call.
As long as they don't say like, "Oh, we want a fucking Will Levis in the deal too."
Oh no.
They might try to do that though if they know they're not going to get a quarterback in the draft. They might say, "Oh, we want Will Levis if we're going to give you our top pick."
And then that's when he hangs up the phone right there.
Yeah,
so just hold on.
You can't.
Line 3, click.
You know what you got in Will Levis. You don't know what. I mean, you never know with these rookie quarterbacks. You don't know what you're going to get with them.
But still, I still wouldn't even. I mean, that means you would have to go into the draft to draft another quarterback in the top.
And then you're going for the risk. It's the risk. It's a high risk, high reward kind of thing. If you don't know if they're going to be good or not, though.
Yeah. But that's when I would say you talk to my boy DT. Who's that? Dial tone. Bop.
Yeah, they would I would if they give a first pick. If they give their high draft pick for Verbal though, then they're stupid for doing that because then they're not going to get a quarterback.
I mean. Kev, to go back to what you were saying, obviously, Texans sweep the Titans, but I really felt like the first game y'all should have gotten us at y'all's house in Nissan Stadium. You guys should have beaten us, and you're up 2 scores, and you guys are playing ultra conservative in the second half. And I'm thinking, why is they're not letting Levis throw the ball downfield? Like, if I'm up 2 scores, I get it, you want to melt the clock down and play clock management. But I'm thinking like, well, shit, in the first half, we were arming the ball out. I'm going to run the clock down, but I'm also going to arm the ball out in there. I'm not going to play too conservative. I mean, I might run the ball a couple times and melt off a minute or two, but I'm thinking I'm going to take shots down the field like I did in the first half, and I just felt like the Titans completely diverted away from that, and that was the first time that actually made me question Mike Vrabel's play calling, or if it was your offensive coordinator Tim Kelly, one of the two, but it made me question the coaching staff at that point because you guys should have won that game and really should have put us out. Like we really shouldn't even be talking about Texans in the playoffs. We would be playing spoiler right now at 8-7, trying to beat the Colts, and we'd have to have Jacksonville lose. We'd have to have all these other teams lose. I think the Bills would have to, or no, the Bills would clinch at that point. So I'm thinking if I'm the Titans here going into this draft, and if the Patriots want Vrabel, give him Vrabel. Take that first round pick. Now what you can do is you can take both picks. You can trade down with the top 10. And you can acquire more picks in the later first round and get that offensive line. Like Matt said earlier, he said, you don't know how these players are going to pan out. So why not just trade down at that point and get that offensive lineman at the late first round? What's the difference between offensive lineman at 15 than at 25?
Plus, if you get that high draft pick, maybe you got a shot at getting Marvin Harrison Jr.
Facts.
So
I mean, honestly, what I'm looking at is there's a lot of good left tackles coming out of this draft.
Yes.
Yeah.
Some real good ones. Now, the Titans also need help in their secondary. So if I'm them and I got 2 first-round picks, I'm putting something in my secondary and pick something in my offensive line.
Okay.
So that way you're fitting 2 holes right there. But then again, if you have a chance to get 2 big tackles, why not have a left tackle and a right tackle? So now and you have 2 good studs right here next to Peter Storowski. Now you have a chance to basically be like, okay, now Will Levis doesn't have to get murdered.
Right.
And I'm glad you brought up that game, Stephen, because the same thing happened against us with the Colts at home. We were up in the beginning of the game, and then all of a sudden we started playing an ultra conservative. We got the Colts to come back. We got them to overtime, and we just act like we didn't have no heart.
Mm-hmm.
The play calling was bad. And I don't know, and everybody wants to talk bad about Tim Kelly, and you know Tim Kelly, Stephen, because of Houston, but people want to talk bad about Tim Kelly, and I'm sort of thinking, I don't think it's Tim Kelly. I think it's Mike Vrabel who's telling Tim Kelly what the fuck to call. And
the problem with Vrabel is this is my personal opinion about him. When he first was on the Titans, he had a lot of like imp in him, like people were afraid of him. He's from the Belichick regime. This guy's probably a second-hand man that was probably the highly most successful besides Bill O'Brien. And I think since Vrabel's been a head coach, or how long he's been a head coach with the Titans?
6 seasons.
I think now going into it, he's getting that Bill O'Brien effect. I think what it is now, you're complacent. You've been with the team for a while. You're probably stuck in your own ways. You have one formula. You're not willing to change anything. And if you do, it's just little mishaps here and there. But teams are not afraid of Mike Vrabel anymore. His coaching, it's stagnant. When you're with a company for so long, unless you're moving up, you're going to stay stagnant. So your mindset stays stagnant. So with Bill O'Brien being with the head coach of us for 9 years, I'm not saying he should have gotten fired after an 0-4 start, but I wouldn't have renewed his contract. I just would have let him play it out the rest of that year in the 10th year, and I would have let him go after that and say, hey, I appreciate the playoff appearances, the playoff wins, but we're going to go in a new direction here. But with Vrabel, I think he's starting to get that Bill O'Brien longevity effect where you've been with the team for so long, you're stuck in your own ways, and you're not willing to make any adequate changes. That's going to be like, you're going to rebuild. You're going to rebuild with the quarterback position. So I don't know if Vrabel wants to sit through another rebuild. And it's just like, is he going to be the right fit for like a Will Levis, or do you want to get a young college coach head mind to put in there? And,
I'm telling you this much. If there was a way for us to get Jim Harbaugh, I would love it. Just because I know he won't leave Michigan, but I'm just saying if we were to get someone like that I know could work with a guy like Will Levis, I would do it. I mean, there's a lot of good offensive line. There's a lot of good offensive coordinators out there that want to be head coaches. The one thing we all know for sure, we would not hire Josh McDaniels because
He'll
as a
try to
head
get
coach.
that offensive coordinator from the Lions if he wants to be head coach next year.
And that's and that's the thing too about this whole situation is I look at a guy like Derrick Henry, who did get his 1,000 yards. He finally got his 1,000 yards this season, which is a positive. That is 7 straight seasons he's had 7 seasons he's had 1,000 yards. He's almost close to 10,000 yards rushing. He's over like 80, almost 90 touchdowns his career. But I feel like the Titans should have traded him during the trade deadline. And the reason why I'm saying that is because you could have gotten something for him. He could have went somewhere like Baltimore or Dallas or Buffalo. And he could have gotten that chance to get to a championship that he deserves. And now he's a free agent this season.
Or they could have even gone with the Browns too, build the running backs up there too, maybe.
Right. So now you're at a situation now where you're like, do you want to re-sign Derrick Henry for a smaller deal? Would Derrick Henry even want to come back?
I hate this. Go ahead, man.
I don't think he wants to. I don't think so. I mean, would you? I mean, I wouldn't want to come back with a rebuild. And that's just where I'm thinking Derrick Henry's at on that. And by the way, D-Hop finally broke the curse here in Tennessee. Every time we got a veteran receiver, they never got 1,000 yards. Well, he did finally.
Oh, that's good.
So D-Hop broke that. There's a lot of positives. Harold Landry came back from that ACL. He started off slow, but him and D'Amico Autry both got over 10 sacks this season. So we got some positive things on this team. It's just I feel like Mike Vrabel's losing this team. That's where I'm at. When I see the guys on the field, I see guys on the field who are not playing with that same heart, that same mentality. That Titan team that went to the playoffs in 2019 that knocked out New England, knocked out Baltimore, and went toe-to-toe with Kansas City, that team had heart. That team was scary. That team you didn't want to face. Now, when you look at this Titan team, it's like what you said, Stephen. People used to be scared of Vrabel and used to be scared of Derrick Henry and his Titan team. No one's scared of him. No one's not scared of him anymore.
Well, remember, he did the Wildcat formation when he first got there, and teams really enjoyed that about him. And he had sort of like, he made it fun to be a tight end. And I think he sort of lost that. But it comes with complacency when you drag it out for so long, a year as a head coach. It's sort of like stagnant. You're stuck in your own ways, and you kind of get complacent. So he says, I don't like losing. Well, then explain the second half debacle when you're up 13 and Will Levis is literally throwing bombs on us in the first half. And then you divert to some conservative style second half, something that the Texans used to do and play real conservative and play game management when Will Levis has an arm. What do you have to lose up 2 scores anyway? So, like, why are you diverting to the conservative play calling just to play to run the clock out when you should have beaten us? You should have stomped the mud hole in the Texans' candy ass, at least in Nissan. And so, again, I think when the Titans enter this offseason, the question is going to be, and we're going to read Prodigal Hill's comments because out of respect, we'll read it right after I say this, unless Matt has something to say if he wants to add to the conversation on this topic. But I think that if you're the Titans, the question marks are going to be, Ryan Tannehill is obviously going to go. Malik Willis has to be gone too. I wouldn't want him as backup. So you're going to have to fill up those voids. Then Derrick Henry. I think at this point, there's no sense in keeping him. I first remember we talked about this weeks ago. Well, maybe just I think that conversation is over. I think he needs to go too. And it's not that he's 30 years old. He's in life as a running back does not last in the 30s, even in the late 20s. He's got to go, man. And that's just out of respect for the Titans. Or they got to move on from Derrick Henry. If I can get a 3rd round pick or 2nd round pick, I'll take whatever I can get for him at this juncture. He would be good on a Cowboys team or somebody that needs that power of a running back where he might get a little bit of resurgence. But he's on the way out the door. And there's no sense in signing him, even though small year deal, unless you're going to trade him to a contender that's willing to give you some sort of assets back for that. Then I would do that. Then, of course, I would go down my list of receivers. DeAndre Hopkins, he's committed 2-year deal. I like Treylon Burks. He's pretty good. Chris Moore, stuff like that. And then as far as like the secondary, the 3-4 defense, I probably would try to beef up that D-line a little bit more and maybe the secondary and try to figure out. But of course, the biggest question is going to be, how do the Titans' strategy enter into the draft? I'm thinking if you can trade with Patriots and they say, hey, we'll give you a first-round pick for Vrabel if we want him bad. If you want him that bad, how bad do you want him? And if Kraft says, we'll give you a first-round draft pick for him, take the deal, go ahead and get a younger head coach. I would even consider a college-minded head coach or a guy from Detroit like Matt's saying, and I would give him a chance and say, we got a young quarterback here with an arm. We need a young college mind quarterback or somebody that's up and coming to something new, something fresh. And then you got that running back, you trade Derrick Henry for that second-round pick. Now you're talking about possibly trading down in the draft, acquiring more picks in the later first round, and getting that offensive line and plugging up those holes in the later second and third round. What do you think?
Oh, wait. What do you think? What do you think, Ogden?
I think that'd be good for him. I think that would be because Derrick Henry's a good running back and all, but he's up there in age also. So it's like, yeah, you also want to go, and plus you could always find another running back in the draft.
Facts.
So it's like it's not like everybody's like, oh, we lose our right. Now I think the main key thing in the NFL is like if you lose your quarterback, like you go out, you lose your starting quarterback, then that's more of a hurt than losing a running back, or even a receiver. If you lose a receiver too, that's a huge blow than losing a running back.
I think what you have to do is we do have D Hop for 2 years, but we have to ensure him that he would want to stay another year because he may look at this and he may be like, they're rebuilding. I may not want to be here. Right. I mean, so you have to kind of convince him that things are going to get better because him and Will Levis do have a good chemistry with each other.
Absolutely.
They have a really good chemistry together. Now, my problem with Treylon Burks is he can't stay healthy. And when there's big throws given to him, like there was in the game against Houston, he dropped the pass. And that's my issue with Treylon Burks. I mean, I'm almost willing to say he's almost a first-round bust. I don't want to say it. Believe me, I don't. But we're at that point now where I'm like, Treylon Burks is only, to me, a third or fourth receiver. We need to get a second receiver that can come in there and help DeAndre Hopkins because D-Hop is still getting double-teamed every time he's playing.
What about Chris Moore?
Chris Moore does really good on the good big bomb plays. I think we keep him, but I think that I don't think he's like the number 2 receiver. I just think he's just that guy that gets open sometimes and catches these big bombs from Will Levis, and people don't think about it because he gets free sometimes, which is good because you want to have that good flow to it. Now, Tajay Spears has been a really good young fast running back for us. I agree. And then the one thing here that Prodigal Hill said, there's a guy from Notre Dame who you can come in and help with Tajay Spears that could replace Derrick Henry in the draft. And I've seen this guy he's talking about with Notre Dame. The guy's good. And I think that is Tennessee's formula. Now, here's my problem with this. The Titans do play good defense. I know it doesn't show it with the scores and stuff like that, but you have to keep in mind that defense is on the field more than that offense is.
Facts.
And as hard as it is, we have Jeffrey Simmons who got hurt here recently, so he's been out. So we don't have Big Jeff to plug the hole. We just lost T.R. Tart, who basically gave up on this team. And I think you guys picked them up, if I'm not mistaken. Houston did. Yeah. So he was helping with the run defense, and then he was mad because he didn't get that extension that he wanted. So he wanted to do his thing. We need to re-sign D'Amico Autry. I know he's a free agent. Definitely need to keep him. Harold Landry has definitely done good. Arden Key has done pretty good for us, who's been here from the free agency. But the defense, though, Christian Fulton's gone as a corner. I look at that. Caleb Farley has been nothing but a bust ever since we got him in the first round a couple years ago. He hasn't even played a down this season. I think the Titans need a big giant overhaul on offense and defense, and not just with the defense, and not just with Mike Vrabel. I think they need they need a new offensive coordinator, a new defensive coordinator. They need to really put a shot on his arm because You look at Jacksonville. Jacksonville's got a Super Bowl winning coach in Doug Peterson. Houston's up and coming. The Colts are doing better now without Frank Wright.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So now you're at a position where do you want to keep a guy like Mike Vrabel for another year who's going to do the same old shit every single time? And every time he does a press conference, he says the same things. He has the same Belichick mentality where he's like, I don't know, he's hurt. He'll be here tomorrow. He's like, I don't know. It's like, it looks like to me that Vrabel doesn't want to be there. When I see him coaching, he doesn't look like he wants to be there.
He looks burned out.
Right.
I can tell, and that's what I said with complacency. When you head coach the first 2-3 years, you're all excited, and then it just sort of downplays from there as that complacency sets in. It's like the workplace almost, and sometimes it's like the only way you get a source of resurgence is if you move up or you find ways to motivate you. I think Vrabel sees the situation as a slow, sudden rebuild coming, so I think he's just like, fuck it, like I know the rebuild is coming, I'll address it when that time comes. Well, the problem is when you got a young quarterback like the one you got, is old man Vrabel gonna have, because like personally, like let's say you become a grandparent, then you raise those kids, but then when you become after a certain age, you're like, I don't feel like raising nobody else's kids. So it's kind of like that. Does he want to go through another rebuild with another young quarterback that could take 3 or 4 years? Now you're talking about 9-10 years. So at that point, I would say that the Titans front office should consider that and say, well, if we're going to trade Derrick Henry, now are we willing to go all in with the new head coach? But the only thing is are the Titans, unless the Patriots call to offer a trade, I could maybe see him buying time for maybe one more season to sort of gel it. But unless the Titans are saying, you know what, we're going to go ahead and clean house, we're going to retool, we're going to build around Will Levis, take it or leave it, and we can promote that coordinator from Detroit, put him in there, and see where this goes. Because to me, it seems like if you're the Titans, you have to build around Levis. I mean, it just is what it is at this point.
I'll look at, I don't know about you guys, but I look at these coaches who are doing well this season. You look at, like Andy Reid, for example. I know Kansas City's been struggling lately, but that's all because you Taylor Swift fans. Taylor Swift's cursed that team. Tay has cursed that team, which, but you have these coaches, and like you get a guy like Sean Payton who was with New Orleans, left with Denver. Now he's about to get rid of Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
So you're at a position now where you got other teams who are also looking to redo stuff and rebuild and retool things. And we have Amy Adams Strunk, who is Bud Adams' daughter. She does not want to lose, and she does not. You definitely don't want to look like you're 5-11, 4-12, and your stadium's about to be built in 2027. Your new one. That just paints a really bad picture. And I'm looking at this team, and I still have faith. I still have passion for my team. I just see these Titan fans out there. They're like we should tank. We should tank. We should tank. No team should ever tank. And the reason why I'm saying that is because you got to play with pride.
Let me say this: you only tank if you're getting a quarterback or some top tier receiver. But if you have a quarterback, you don't tank. It doesn't make any sense. Like, unless there's like some like LeBron James like player that is coming in the draft, which is once in a lifetime, like a top tier receiver. But I always say you never tank unless you need a quarterback.
Now, if the Titans get up there more in the draft, if they're like in a 3rd or 4th pick, if there is a chance for you to get Marvin Harrison Jr., you do it.
Oh, absolutely.
You do it. There's no. I don't care if you need an offensive line. If you get that kid and you pair him with D-Hop,
that'd be good.
You pick the best player on that board. That's just how I'm looking at it from that point. But do I think he will be there when the Titans are on the board? No. I know it's wishful thinking for most of these fans. They're like, we want Marvin Harrison Jr. because we get him because his dad played in the AFC South with the Colts. So people are like, hey, it'd be nice to have him. I'm like, I honestly, I agree with Matt. I think he's going to Arizona.
Yeah.
So
He'll be a good fit for Kyler Murray, though. Give him the weight.
Oh, yeah.
Now, do you think the Bears? I'm going to ask you guys this, just away from the Titans. Do you think the Bears are done with Justin Fields?
I think they are, but I think they shouldn't be because, to be honest, he looks pretty good though, and they're just giving up on him because they want to rebuild a team with a new quarterback. But their offensive line definitely needs help too, though. So if you're going to put him in a situation where he's going to be behind a shitty line, I don't think Caleb Williams wants to go to the Bears, though. I think he said he had like 2 teams or something that he didn't want to go to. I'm pretty sure the Bears are one. So he might pull like a fucking Eli Manning, John Elway type of thing.
I think Marvin Harrison Jr. might go to Chicago, kind of like what Poston was saying. That's a possibility too.
Yeah, if they know they're not going to get if they know Caleb Williams doesn't want to go, then that means that whoever they trade Caleb Williams to, they're going to have to draft a quarterback for them so they can swap.
I mean, here's something that I'm looking at with the Titans, and this is where I'm looking at it. Some of these fans are selling their tickets online, and they're being disrespectful. And I'm looking at a guy like Derrick Henry. You have one more home game to see that man live. He's put in a lot of work for this team. I feel like he deserves a lot more respect that he's gotten. But here's the thing, though. Could any running back in the league, Christian McCaffrey, any of them, could they have had more success than Derrick Henry with that offensive line? I don't think so.
Nah.
I mean, that offensive line, anytime. And here's the thing with Derrick Henry, and Houston did it really good when you guys played us here, is the way to stop Derrick Henry is you got to hit him before he hits that hole. You crowd into him before he gets in that hole, before he gets in that little lane and gets into second gear. That's how you stop Derrick Henry. But Derrick Henry's also playing like he doesn't really care either. I think he's wanted gone for. I think he wanted to be traded. And we had, from what I hear, we had suitors. I mean, Baltimore and Dallas were interested, but I think the Titans wanted a second round, and no one was willing to offer that. They wanted a third and a fourth, and I think the Titans wanted a second round, and that's the reason why there was no let's push the button on that type of deal. So now we're at a position now where Derrick Henry's a free agent unless you find a way to trade him before the free agency starts, where he's officially a free agent, because now you don't get nothing for him.
So you're saying that it's a situation now where they actually may leverage it against you because teams know, hey, you got till free agency to get him up. We can just go get him then. So you have to take this deal now, which is a 4th round or a 5th round. Yep. I think if I'm Tennessee at this point, I listen to offers and just take the best, least worst deal.
Honestly, someone looked at me weird when they said this. They were like, Ryan Tannehill won't be back. I'm like, well, Ryan Tannehill could still be a backup. I mean, some people. I mean, now I do think the Titans will get rid of Malik Willis, and the reason why I say that, I think there'll be some team may look at Malik Willis as a project. I think Malik Willis will not be with the Titans next season. But I also feel like you also need to give that kid a little bit more of a chance too. But I think
Malik Willis looks terrible. I'm sorry. You just have to.
He does.
And he looks damn awful. I mean, I just think one of those projects that just didn't work out from the start. I think if you're the Titans, just let him go. I would probably keep maybe Tannehill as a second option, and then maybe go get Tyrod Taylor just to kind of complement it, have the veteran experience, and then, like I said, the strategy going in the draft, Derrick Henry trade, maybe go hunt for a new head coach if there's no offers for him, and maybe pick up that offensive coordinator from Detroit and just go completely new slate.
I'm looking at Derrick. I'm looking at Mike Vrabel, and I look at it like, is it the fact that Derek, he might be one of those coaches that might want to take a year off. And he might just want to leave on his own and be like, "Look, I just need to take a year off. I need to recharge my battery." Um, and he might go to a different team. But I do know that he loves his old alma mater in Ohio State. But Ohio State's already got a coach, so I mean, what would you do?
I don't know. We might move on from Ryan Day though. The way it seems,
That might be a chance right there for Mike Vrabel to be like,
you get in as a head. If they say, "Hey, we fired our head coach. We want to give you a shot," maybe he pulls the trigger and goes to Ohio State.
I have to ask you guys this question. There was a video. I know y'all guys saw the game between Detroit
Oh yeah.
and Dallas. I finally got a chance to look back at everything. Did the referee screw Detroit? Yes or no? I'm gonna go with you, Ogden.
Yeah, you go first.
I think, in a way, they kind of did, because I mean, he was reported eligible, but I mean, at the same time, though, when they got that flag, I would have just went for the one, to be honest. And then Dallas got a penalty out of it, and then they did it again. They fucked it up. I think they should have just went for the tie and go to overtime and see from there what they can do with it.
Well, in terms of the replay not reporting eligible, I mean, obviously, I didn't get a chance to watch it, but if going by what Matt said, I agree with that. If he reported and you call that he didn't, I think that's weird. But I'm gonna be honest with you. I think Detroit made the right move of going for two. And
Yeah.
the reason why I say that is because when they were down by one, I immediately was having a conversation. I don't know if it was Prodigal Hill or somebody else that I was talking to in the Facebook DMs. I said, if I'm Detroit, I'm going for two, because at this point, you've already won your division. You
Yeah.
pretty much, I mean, you're between second and third. You're still in the wild card round, so it really doesn't matter. At this point, if I'm Detroit, I'm like, fuck it. What do I have to lose? Might as well just go for it. So at this point, I think the call was right for Dan Campbell to go for it. I just think it just ended in a controversial way, to where people are saying, well, maybe you should have kicked the one. But the minute they scored, I'm like, I'm going for two.
And they did get it, though, and they fucked it up, though.
Yeah, it happens. It's a risk. You're going for two, and that's it,
Yep.
Well, the Prodigal Hill says yes, that the referee screwed Detroit, and I agree with him. The reason why I say that, because I look back at the video, and Jared Goff's telling Eric Decker, he's like, look, go to the referee and let him know that you're in. So they both go over there, number 70 and Eric Decker both go and let the referee know that, hey, I'm replacing him. The referee sees this, nods his head, and then all of a sudden they get two, and then all of a sudden a legal thing. I'm sitting there thinking, then the referee is standing by his decision by saying, he's like, number 70 said he was checking in, not 68. 70 was telling you he's leaving, you fucker. I mean, come on. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but the referees have been awful this year, more than I've ever seen them be awful. And I still feel like that the NFL should hold these referees accountable.
Well, I heard those referee crews, they're not eligible to coach. I mean, the ref in the playoffs, I heard the ones from the Cowboys.
They're not gonna. Yeah, they're not coaching the playoffs.
Yeah, they're not refereeing. Yeah.
Refereeing. I mean, yeah.
Sorry, that was on me. I accidentally said coaching. Yeah, but they're not refereeing the playoffs. So
that's good.
I just look at it like this: you don't put them in, but you put somebody else in that's going to do the same thing.
There'll be bullshit calls in the playoffs. Don't worry.
I'll tell you what, though, if you have an AFC team and you think they're going to be really good in the playoffs and they go against Kansas City, I'm guarantee you Patrick Mahomes has already bought them gifts.
Yeah.
All right, so
watch out for that.
Watch out for that.
This looks like a weird year of NFL. It looks like there's going to be a lot of upsets where you think a team's going to win and they're not.
There's been so many of them.
We were talking about that, Steven. The fact is, this team, this season, has been the more AFC and the NFC has been the most teams that have actually biting for playoff spots.
Yeah,
than we've had in a long time. And this season has been crazy. It's been weird.
I think you might see a lot of upsets on the NFC side, to be honest, from all these top seed teams because they're going up against hot teams like Green Bay and LA Rams. And maybe the Eagles could go into Tampa Bay and win too. You never know.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it all depends on what happens. Green Bay still has to win their last game to get in, regardless. So
So
I
if Green
I
Bay
think they'll pull it off.
if they lose, can they still get in?
They would need a lot of help from teams to lose, though.
Oh,
But
okay. So,
the best option is to win it, because I mean that's probably the best way to get in. It's going to be interesting though. Once the playoff, I think the NFC side looks more interesting than the AFC side, to be honest. But AFC side's got some good teams too.
yeah, the only bad thing about it is I think the way they're setting it up is they want Chiefs and Ravens in the AFC Championship game. I just
I
have this
feel like they might
crazy.
want Browns and Ravens, to be honest.
You think so?
I mean, wouldn't that be like a good storyline though? Flacco against his whole team, the winner goes to the Super Bowl.
I don't know. I think they want Chiefs back in that motherfucker, man.
Maybe. You never know. I guess we'll see.
Shit, man.
You want to know why they want that? Because if the Chiefs get to the Super Bowl, you'd be seeing Taylor Swift there being like, "Oh, I love my Travis," and I guarantee you that's a publicity stunt. Those two are not in a relationship.
It's like a Jessica Simpson Romo. Jessica Simpson Romo bullshit.
Well, after they break up, what you got to write another broke up song or something with breakup with
yeah. It's probably already written. It's like
yeah.
I left the tight end for the quarterback.
Yeah.
Imagine if it's Cowboys and Chiefs, and the storyline is the old Chiefs versus the new Chiefs, and Dallas gets screwed on a controversial call, and then what's his name? Jerry Jones runs in there and is like hulking up to the referees, and then like Roger Goodell just grabs a fucking championship belt and just fucking whacks fucking Jones over the back of his head with it, you know?
All right.
That'd be the only time I would cheer for Jerry Jones.
Do you also think that they could possibly go in with the whole color logo thing too? Because they did that for the past two ones.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, well, if you remember the Super Bowl with the Rams and Bengals, it had their colors in it. And then the next year had Eagles and Chiefs colors. And this one looks like it has Ravens and 49ers colors in it. It's like,
yeah, if you look at Super Bowl logos and you look at the color scheme, it kind of already tells you who's going to be in it.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. And if it's like whatever team's logos not or the colors is not shown as much, they win or something like that.
I think so.
I forgot that they like if they show the team's colors, that's the team's getting in. But it's either whoever's color is more shown or less visible. I forgot that they were saying that the other day on the.
Well, then if that's the case, then it looks like the 49ers will beat the Ravens then.
Oh, on the rematch, shit.
In the rematch, I think. Well, we'll see. I mean, you never who knows? NFL might try to throw a curveball. People try to make them bet on that just so I see what they've been doing, and they bet a lot of money and they lose. So they might be trying to do that too. You never know.
Do y'all guys think gambling's ruined sports? I mean, I know people do it on the side, but do you think like the whole Vegas odd things kind of ruin sports or the integrity?
I think it's stuffed into the storylines now. I think it's
so.
going to be more of like, okay, let's bet on the Super Bowl. Everybody's going to hey, let's bet on the Ravens. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
It's like, wait a minute. The 49ers won, and I put all that money on the Ravens.
Yeah, so it's like you never know.
It's like you already you're pretty much gone broke. Like all your paycheck and your savings account and your checking account is gone now. So
damn.
Well, I think gambling's ruined all sports, to be honest.
Yeah, it has. I feel like it's what's weird though is you can actually do the betting now with WWE, and I'm like, how the fuck do you do that?
How do you do that?
I know. It's like you're doing that on WWE too, and it does it with UFC and boxing. I get that. But.
So if Vince McMahon's if whoever when Triple H books the matches, he could do a bet on it, and he already knows the winners. He's like, I'm going to bet on this person to win.
Yep, he certainly fucking can. Like even Tony Khan can do that for AEW wrestling.
Yeah, they could all bet on. They already know the outcome too, and it's scripted. So.
Or how about this? Triple H does a betting thing, and you could bet on certain wrestlers, and he'll just take whatever the majority is and flip flop it so he can profit off of it.
Yeah,
he'll change the script.
He'd be like WrestleMania 40. Okay, everybody's betting on Cody to dethrone Roman Reigns, and all of a sudden Triple H goes in there and goes, "I bet $100,000 on Roman Reigns." What the fuck? Roman Reigns won again.
Yeah.
Hey, did you guys hear about The Rock issuing out a challenge to Roman Reigns? Is that
going to be at Elimination Chamber, though, right?
Yep. And they're going to be in Australia, an elimination chamber, which is going to be 80,000 people. And apparently, the people in Australia really wanted The Rock to be there, so they put in extra money
Or they put Rock in so they keep more
for The
money.
Rock to do this. So, which pretty much shows that whoever Roman Reigns faces at the Royal Rumble, Roman Reigns is going to.
So he's gonna beat Randy Orton, and then he's gonna go on to beat The Rock, and then he'll be at WrestleMania and probably go on to beat Cody again, maybe.
Well, this is why I say that Roman Reigns is going to drop the belt at SummerSlam, because if you look at his day, the amount of days he's champion. Let me look it up real quick. Hold on, let me type it in. Roman. Okay, it's right here. Roman Reigns has been champion for 1,218 days, right?
Yeah.
And the next guy to chase is Hulk Hogan. And Hogan has had 1,474.
Mm-hmm.
So if you subtract 218 from 474, that's roughly like 256 days. So that means he's got to hold that damn belt for a long time, because 90 days is 3 months. So that means 180 days is 6 months. And then the remainder of that amount, so 180 from 256, that's another 20 plus another 56, that's 76. So you would have to hold it for another 2.5 months after that. That puts it right around SummerSlam.
Yeah.
So to me, I think they want Roman to beat Hulk Hogan because of the new generation doesn't know about the past, and they want to give Roman Reigns a record, kind of like LeBron and Jordan sort of ordeal. And then with Hogan's whole racist bull, saying, oh, he said all this racist. So I think they're trying to make Roman beat him to for all that bullshit, kayfabe crap. So I think that's why I think if he has a good quality win over The Rock for WrestleMania, then I think they'll give Cody Rhodes the win at SummerSlam. That's what I think is going to end up happening. And they want him to beat Hogan's record at 1,474. They're going to want him around 1,500, and I think they'll make him lose after that.
Yeah.
There ain't no way he's catching Bruno's.
No, he'll catch Hulk Hogan. I think they want him to break Hogan's record, but that means he's going to have to hold the belt for another 6 or 7 months. So that means you have to go into SummerSlam with that belt, and SummerSlam is the biggest pay-per-view after WrestleMania. So it would make sense if that's the strategy they're going to do. But then they could pull the rug under and have him lose at Mania. But my question would be then why even have him hold the belt for that long if you weren't going to have him break Hogan's record? What would be the purpose? Why'd you even have him hold the belt for this long?
Poston said we should start a channel all together called Really Rig Sports. Now,
I like that.
There was a playoff game between Dallas and San Francisco, not last year, but the year after that, where they were lining up. They were lining up, and the referee got in Dak Prescott's way.
Yeah, I saw that.
And I'm like, and all of a sudden, last year the Super Bowl, Patrick Mahomes is supposed to have a bad knee. He's over there. You see him on the sidelines crying. And all of a sudden, the second half, he becomes Superman. And they start calling all this stuff on the Eagles and everything like that. And you're just like, what in the world? Now, the biggest screw game is that Atlanta versus Patriot game, because Atlanta was up so much on them. And all of a sudden, Atlanta just starts going, oh, we're just going to pass the ball now. I'm like, why not run the ball? You got all this momentum against you, and you're going to let New England come back like that.
Yeah.
Oh, the Texans were up in 2008 over the Colts by 30 points in the fourth quarter, and they cheated and let the fucking Colts come back. And when Rosen was trying to fucking quarterback sneak, the referee ran in front of him and diverted his route, and then he fucking got clipped by fucking Freeney and did a helicopter spin. They called it Rosencopter, and he fucking he flipped, and then the ball fell out or whatever. Yeah, the refs were messing with us that game.
I saw some referee. I went on YouTube and I looked at referee stuff on high school football games. I seen a referee actually kick another player, tripping while they're trying to run. I'm like, what the?
I've seen referees kick a football when they were when the teams were rushing to hike the ball and they were trying to do the no huddle, and the referee would go in there and kick the damn ball like a soccer ball,
These referees, man.
Bro,
Yep.
I'm waiting for the ultimate one. I was telling Prodigal Hill about this Chiefs Cowboys Super Bowl. The Chiefs, they rob them, and the Chiefs become the new heel. And then Jerry Jones runs in there and it's like, I thought you said I was gonna win, and then the referee just fucking kicks him right in the fucking balls.
Okay, Matt, I gotta bring this up because I know the Prodigal Hill's a Dallas Cowboy fan and you're a Packers fan. But he was talking about in the comments that Dallas got screwed too when that Des Bryant catch.
Yeah, I feel like they kind of did, but at the same time, though, it's like they still had to get that touchdown, and that still would have gave Rodgers a lot of time to go down the field and
That is
score a
true.
game-winning field goal. So I mean, it's regardless. I mean, these referees. I mean, we all have had our fair share of our teams getting screwed over.
Oh yeah, and then we've all had the fair share of being on the winning side of it.
Yeah, so someone's always going to be on the win side, and someone's always going to be on the. That's just how it always is going to be.
Yeah. Hey, what was that one game where like the assistant coordinator tripped like a Jets player or something like that on a kickoff return and stopped him from returning the touchdown?
Are you talking about that game when they Ravens and Steelers and Tomlin tripped a player or something, or tried to trip a player?
Yeah. I mean, this guy Hunter was asking if we talked about the Lions game. Yeah, we did. And let me tell you something. That guy got a nice Christmas package from Jerry Jones.
Yeah, he did.
Afterwards, I mean, there's no way in hell that you can't look at that game with the Lions and if like Dan Campbell didn't even want to talk about it.
Dude, it looked like he was going Hulkamania in the press conference.
I mean, now I will say this though: the Titans are one of the most flagged teams in the league, and I can tell you this much: if you are a low city market team, which Nashville's grown, but they're not a big city like Philadelphia or Chicago or Dallas. But I noticed that if you're a big city team or you're a big team, the referees tend to give you stuff compared to the teams that are not. If you're not what the NFL wants, if you're not what ESPN wants, because I think ESPN also, I have to give you props, Steven, because Poston showed me the picture you did of ESPN kissing SEC. I thought that was a pretty good little photo. But if a team doesn't fit a narrative of what the NFL wants, you can see these games where Titans don't fit a narrative, so they get stuff called on them all the time that it's like, what? And I feel like if it's a championship game and it's between two teams, the last quarter and it's like 3 or 4 minutes left to go, let them just go at it. Don't call no flags. Let these men be warriors. Let them go at it.
Well, to be fair, college football is a clear example, at least with other sport. Well, referees used to hide cheating back in the day. Now they don't do it anymore because it's just so blatantly obvious and they laugh about it in your face whenever they make a blown call. But college football is probably the only sport I've seen. And me and Prodigal, we covered this on my channel the other day, so make sure y'all sub to my channel to watch this video. Where college football, there is no path to a championship. There's no path to a playoff. It's all about popularity and who's my favorite team, a beauty pageant. And I've never seen such a corrupted fucking way of determining a champion in any sport than I've seen in college football. It's probably by far the worst way they determine who gets in. And it's like it's going to the prom every year. And let's say it's Groundhog's Day and you're stuck in high school every year, right? And it's seeing the same 4 hot girls going to the prom. It's the same thing every year.
Oh, so you have Nick Saban in that little gown going.
It's the same shit. And so when Deion Sanders says, well, they rigged it for Texas to make the college playoff, and you're not bitching about that, my response is 9 years that they've done this college playoff, 36 slots because it's 4 teams per entry, and we made 1. Congratulations. Wow, they really rigged it for us, Deion. And it's like, well, then by then if we don't make the playoffs, then either does Bama because we beat Bama. But he sat there and said, well, Bama should have got in and Florida State, not Texas. And I'm like, but we beat Bama and we have the same record and won our championship. So how do we get snubbed and then Florida State and Bama gets in, and Bama gets in over us when we beat them head to head? And he said that they rigged it for us. And I said, well, you dumb fool, do you realize you're at a school where they literally get buried every year? Colorado? Like, you think the NCAA is going to let them make the playoffs, even if you go undefeated? No, they're just going to give you a glorified New Year's Six bowl. That's it.
Now it's going to be 12 teams now, at least. That's the bright side of it, I guess.
Well, me and Prodigal covered that. If you guys didn't watch our video yesterday, the first half of the live, they're basically just going to let a bunch of SEC teams in.
So from 12, that's why they're going to do 12 teams.
SEC teams, 8 of them have 10 wins or more. Me and Prodigal talked about that on my channel yesterday on a live stream. The video's still up. Y'all want to go see it. It's an hour and 50-minute discussion. We go on all that. 12 teams, 8 of them are going to be SEC, and the other 4 are going to go between the Big 10, the ACC, and the Big 12, and the other conferences. That still is going to create this problem. Like, my thing is Prodigal Hill covered this, so I'll give him credit. I don't want to steal his shine. But if you got 8 conferences, you should win your conference and make the tournament.
They should do that, yeah.
Yeah, it shouldn't be like you're just basically expanding the playoffs to let more teams in the SEC in. And if you look at the bowl games that were just recently played, all the SEC teams pretty much squashed all the teams they played against. So now they're saying, see, this is why we let Bama in, because they buried all these SEC teams are winning. So when Bama lost yesterday to Michigan, it didn't look bad for them for NCAA rigging Bama to get in, so they could justify by saying, well, that's why we let Bama in, because all these SEC teams won. See the conference they came from, so now they have to justify why they let Bama in. But my question is, how come when a smaller team gets blown out or loses, it's a bigger deal, but when Bama or Georgia or Clemson or somebody loses of popularity, Notre Dame, they lose, it's just they played a bad game. But if Texas lost or somebody else lost, it's like, oh, you see, they didn't deserve to get in, you see? But when Bama loses, they're like, well, they just had a bad game. It's not that big of a deal. Go ahead. I'll let y'all take the mic.
Honestly, if one team, you know what, Dion, if you want to say the Texans, you want to talk about the Longhorns, I question why Dion didn't take up for his alma mater. You know, Florida State got screwed. You know, you don't want to take up for them, but then, you know, people say, oh, well, if Dion was coach of Florida State, he would get in. Of course he would get in if Dion was coaching them, because Dion's popular.
Well, he used to play at Florida State. He was a Florida State Seminole.
I know, but I mean, they wouldn't have screwed Florida State like they did.
And not only that, they were rigging it for Colorado. They said at the beginning of the year that they were going to give them a New Year's Six bowl game regardless of what the record was. I said, what the fuck?
Yeah.
It's because they lost so many games that they couldn't do it. But if Dion would have had 4 losses, they would have put him in there at 6-4. They would have gave him a New Year's Six bowl game just for his name. And I said, well, damn, you already got a New Year's Six bowl game. We're not even in week 2 yet of the season.
Look how many SEC teams are in these bowl games. I mean, like, I mean, my Tennessee Vols beat. I kind of figured we were going to beat Iowa anyways, but you got so many SEC teams in these damn bowl games. It's insane. And I'm an SEC guy, but even I got to face facts. There's too much butt kissing between NCAA and.
Well, you know who operates the SEC? The Disney. They're the ones that control the network and everything. So they're sponsored by Disney, and so that has a lot to do with it too. And so when Kirk Herbstreit sits there and says, "Well, you should have had Georgia," and they should have played, and that would have been a made great. They have sponsors to answer to, and I'm like, okay, but whenever those teams lose by a lot of points, you have nothing to say about it. Well, Bama's had a bad game. That's the reason why they didn't play that well. They just had a bad game. I'm like, okay, so they have a bad game. They get blown out. It's no big deal. But if Texas loses by a field goal, then you sit there and say, oh, well, they should have got in. Look at the schedule. They paid Baylor. What's the flex over that?
I mean, it's the same principle with these teams. It's like, you look at I just think the college football playoff thing needs to be done a lot better.
Yeah.
You
You
know,
win your
definitely.
conference, you make the playoffs.
I look at it like this: if you, I don't care if you're an SEC team, if you lost 2 or 3 games, you should not be in the playoffs. You should be in a regular bowl game. It should go with the teams that are actually winning and actually doing what they need to do. Um,
I mean,
and you know,
it's a beauty pageant, man. It's like WWE with this goddamn college football. It's the worst way. It's the worst thing to do to not have an actual fucking path, man. And then here goes, Nick Saban comes in and has the nerve to say, "Whoa, how did Texas make the playoff there, boy? They only beat us one time there, boy, and that was in week 2, boy." And I'm like, "Yeah, but we still beat you head to head. We're not the same team anymore, there, boy. Boy." And it's like these motherfuckers will say anything to justify this bullshit college playoff. Of course, and then Kirby Smart comes up there and says, "Well, let me tell you something right there. You saying Texas is better than us. They're not better than us there, boy. They're not better than us there, boy. And I tell you, Michigan ain't better than us there, boy. So anybody should get in. Should be Bama and Georgia and Florida State and Ohio State. There should have only been 4 teams in there." And that's just these idiots will say anything to defend their stance at the top, and it's bullshit. And that's why I say you want to eliminate all this. I'll go with Prodigal. Give him a shout out. 8 conferences. That's 16 teams because your conference championship game is a playing game, which you can make the argument. Okay, it's first round. So you do your top 16. Those 8 teams that win go into the college playoff. You re-rank them 1 to 8 and do it from there. But no. They want it to where, regardless if you win your championship game or not, you should get in. And only if that applies to the SEC. That only applies to them and no one else. And then whenever we get in or Oklahoma gets in, they'll say stupid shit like, "Well, they should have got in the playoffs because the Big 12 doesn't have a defense or anything like that. All they have is offense. They get exposed all the time in the college playoff." So what's the fucking point of winning your conference if it don't mean nothing? So basically, Texas and OU's Super Bowl game is when we face each other in week 6. That's basically what they're telling us. Because if you win your conference, it means nothing unless you're in the SEC. And I'm tired of it, man. That's why I like the college expansion. But like Prodigal said, if it's like basically saying, well, we'll expand the playoffs, but it's just going to be more teams from our conference. Then it's just the same fucking thing, man. Now it's you and all your friends are in the playoffs now.
As we have Nick Saban over there going, "Oh, yeah, we get in again. Oh, yeah, I'll do it again."
No, I'm dead ass, bro. This is what they're going to do. And then, of course, the Big Ten's they're going to let a couple teams in from the Big Ten because you got to have that Big Ten versus the Super 2 conferences. The Big Ten's got USC. I think they got UCLA. And I don't know, maybe they recruit Notre Dame since they're an independent school. Maybe they can bring them over, but you got Ohio State, and then of course you got Michigan. So Ohio State, Michigan, and USC, you now can promote that third Big Ten team. So that means out of 12 spots, 11 of them are SEC teams with 3 Big Ten teams and 1 spot left over for another conference champion. That is stupid, and that's why I when I look at this 12-team playoff, this is going to be a bigger mess than it is with 4. And you're going to see this next year. And then, of course, Saban's going to say, "Well, you asked for 12 teams there, boy. You got your 12. You got the 12 best teams in there now, boy." And so you now got there's 128 schools. You now have 116 that have nothing to look forward to next year. And it's just 2 conferences basically playing. The Big 12, of course, may get that 11 spot or that 12 spot. The other one goes to the ACC winner. And so now you're just stuck here again, the same bullshit again. And that's why I'm against this college playoff, unless if the structure is right. Win your conference, you make the goddamn spot. Now, if you want to do at-large bids with the last 4, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But when you sit there and you're pushing for this bullshit, for all your SEC buddies to join with 2 and 3, 4 fucking losses, it's bullshit. I remember one year I saw Auburn with 3 losses. 3 losses. They were ranked 6 going into the last week. And they said, "Well, if Auburn wins there, they make the top 4 college, and you haven't had a 2-loss team make the playoffs. But you're telling me Auburn with 3 losses can make it if they won the last week in the Iron Bowl against Alabama. It was the stupidest thing I've ever saw, and it shows you that this system is fucking broken, and they need to have it structured. If you can expand the playoffs to 16, but when 12 of them are SEC teams, you're right back here at this problem again. It's like, for example, if Kev showed up with his gang of buddies, and let's say Kev, has got 10 friends, and I got 10 friends, and I said, hey, wait a minute. We only got 4 spots here, and I'm the only guy that gets in. Some of my friends feel left out. Is there any way we could fix this? Kev goes, okay. So Kev goes back and says, okay, we'll let 16 guys into the dance. And you're like, okay, cool. And then Kev says, all right, man, we'll already have them handpicked. Really? Okay, cool. What's your list? And all of your list are all your fucking friends. And then all my friends are like, what the fuck's going on? And then you turn around and say, guess what there, boy? You got 1 spot left open for there. You can pick one of your friends to join us there, boy.
No, but I wonder how much dick sucking ESPN Disney has done to Nick Saban. And I'm sure Nick Saban's gotten a lot of BJ's.
Oh yeah, and so when Nick Saban lost that game or whatever, he's pissed or whatever. He's gonna join next year. And guess what? Texas lost the next game too. So what they should have did was they should have had Saban run in there and then tap Sarkisian on the shoulder. And as soon as you turn around, just kick him right in the fucking balls and put him in a stone cold stunner. And then as soon as Sarkisian's on the ground, hold his nuts, Saban comes up to him and says, you think it was that easy there, boy, to win there, boy? You think it was that easy there, boy?
Nick Saban be over there going like this.
You there, boy. Welcome to the SEC. I run this shit here, boy.
Nick Saban be like this. This is what you get for stunning me, you piece of trash.
Sarkisian's on the ground holding his nuts, like on the WWE and in skinny. Like, oh, why are you doing this to me? Oh, I'm tired of this shit. Oh. Saban goes, you're now in the SEC there, boy. You win when I tell you to there, boy.
And then you got Dion over there going,
Saban's going to hulk up. He's like, I've had it. Give me a chair. Get up, boy. Get up, Sarkisian. Get up there, boy. When the wrestlers tell you to get up because they're about to do their finisher on you, and Sarkisian's sitting there holding his nuts. He's like, oh, please, man, please, don't do it, please. Get up there, boy. Get up right now there, boy. Get up there, boy. And he's banging that chair. Get up, boy, right now.
And then you have like them guys going like, hey, come on, get up.
And the referees are like, man, just sell it. Just get up. Just do what he says. It's going to be a lot worse if you don't. Because if you don't get up, we're all going to beat your ass. And then Sarkisian's like, all right, give me a minute. And as soon as he gets up, he just turns around because he has to sell it. And then fucking Saban just whacks him in the fucking head with a concerto.
I think they got John Harbaugh looking at Nick Saban going like, it's my yard now.
I'm going to laugh my ass off if they rig it to where Washington wins just to bury Harbaugh. And then Harbaugh gets fucking robbed, fucking Saban runs out with the belt and just fucking whacks fucking Harbaugh onto the chair and just fucking elbow drops him right through the fucking chair, bro.
What we need now is like some Big Ten team goes, kick Saban in the nuts, power bombs him through the table, and just goes like.
I'm telling you, man, this shit's no different. When I saw Washington beat us yesterday, I'm not saying it was rigged. I think it was the game was fair and square, but I was like, fuck it, you might as well just should have had Bama win. Fuck it. Because what's the fucking point? Like, you might as well should have had that win. Now, of course, you could say, well, Michigan wins because Michigan has the Houston Astros storyline. In case you don't know, the Houston Astros were accused of sign stealing. They won the World Series in 2017, then they won again in 2023 or 2022. I don't remember. I don't watch baseball like I used to. Okay, so the Astros had the sign stealing. They were the heels. Now Jim Harbaugh said, oh, you're cheating. You're stealing signs there, boy, like the Astros did there, boy, you fucking cheater. And so they have to have Harbaugh win because his reputation is tarnished. The Michigan is tarnished. The NCAA looks bad. So they have to let Alabama look good in their loss, beef up the SEC teams, have them blow out all the teams in the butt bowl games, and have SEC still looks good. Then you got to have Washington insert themselves in there as the underdog, and then ultimately Michigan becomes the new heel. And I predict that that's going to happen. That they're going to become the heel, and Harbaugh is going to reclaim his, and he's going to have that Houston Astros gimmick.
Yeah, it's going to be like this. Oh, good God Almighty! Washington, they sold their soul to SEC. What the hell is going on here? All of a sudden, Nick Saban goes over there, shakes hands with Washington, and goes, "Good deal."
Here's what's going to happen: Washington gets robbed. The head coach is on the ground, and then Saban runs into the ring after he got kicked in the nads by the ref, and then they both got a chair. Fucking Jim Harbaugh and Saban, like, get up there, boy! Get up there, boy! Get up there, boy! And the ref's gonna be like, hey man, just get up and take this chair shot, dude. I just do it, because if not, they're really gonna start whacking you on the ground. All right, man. And as soon as he gets up, they just fucking do the Edge and Christian Concerto and just fucking take him out.
John Harbaugh, Nick Saban's over there is going to basically, like Proggle Hill said, is probably going to accuse Michigan of stealing signs. I can see. I can see.
Harbaugh got suspended for this shit earlier in the year. Remember that? He got suspended, and this made the NCAA look bad, because when you obviously look like you're cheating, it makes the image look bad. So they're like, the only thing we could do now is have him win the title, to carry that storyline, to carry that kayfabe. And I think that's what they're going to do. They're going to let Michigan win.
It also, he had Jim Harbaugh going over there, putting some coffee in his thing, going like this, I'm the cream of the top.
There you go. And Saban's going to come out and be like, you got a ring there now, there, boy. But you still owe me for that there, boy.
I guarantee you know what would be a really bad heel move is that Michigan wins it all, and all of a sudden, like later on, right before college season starts, in the news today, Michigan got their national championship. Take it away.
Or that's college suspension rule. Remember where they vacate your wins away? And Saban runs in there with a referee like Triple H did. Remember when he reversed the decision? And he's come into the referee, and then he's gonna tell him there, boy. Tell him what happened there, boy. And he's gonna be like, due to the fact that you cheated, we're gonna vacate all your wins. And they
go back to Alabama.
Alabama is the winner. And Washington's going to get completely screwed because they just played them in the championship, didn't even exist. And Saban gets the win. He gets the fucking belt. Saban's going to be the 7-time world champion.
Oh, I want the Texas and the Texas Longhorn coach to come over there and basically come over there and put Nick Saban in the Iron Claw. And be like, I'm a Von Erich.
Sarkisian's going to run in the ring and be like, what happened to my fucking match, man? You fucking screwed me. You fucking screwed me. And then Saban's going to, and then that's when the ref just fucking low blows Sarkisian, and fucking Saban just runs in there with a belt and just whacks him.
And then you got Jim Harbaugh wears he's wearing a disguise and goes over there and hits everybody with
bro, this is fucking hilarious. I mean, shit, you might if they're rigging shit like this, me and Prodigal, we talked about this. You might as well just make it like WWE. You might as well just why hide it? Like, I mean, it's so blatantly obvious. It looks terrible. You're better off just doing some like promos and kayfabe and adding character. You might as well, because you're going as far with it. Why not just go ahead and finish it? That's what I said when Washington beat us yesterday, which they beat us fair and square. So we're not making any excuses. They won fair and square. But I told Prodigal, I said they might as well just have Bama win that game. Why don't they just go in and reverse the decision? Fuck it. Like wrestling does.
Due to outside interference, the championship is being reversed now to Nick Saban in Alabama.
Yeah. Due to questionable calls there, boy. Saban brings up a point there, boy. We are reversing the win there, boy.
Prodigal said, have Alabama get screwed by the refs, lose every game next year, and on the last game of the season, Harbaugh comes out and says, it was me, Saban. It was me all along, damn it.
No, here's what would be funny. Saban goes to the back after the loss against Michigan, and he's like, well, let's just get this over with and congratulate him, even though I don't agree with what just happened there, boy. But let me go ahead. And then all of a sudden he goes to the locker room and 2 refs walk out of there with a big duffel bag full of money. And Saban goes back there. You don't think I see that there, boy? You don't pay them referees there, boy.
You know, it'd be kind of cool.
You think you're gonna support me, boy?
It'd be kind of cool if you give Alabama the national championship, and then Nick Saban spray paints the M logo on there, like for the NWO. Like,
oh yeah. Hey, you know, Marvin told me this perfectly. Alabama's Crimson Tide's colors are like the Wolfpack. You're just missing the NWO on it.
yeah, I mean,
You just put the NWO.
oh, and then Bronco Hill says this: Nick Saban should come out and say, Alabama didn't get screwed. Florida State screwed Florida State.
Dude, Florida State got robbed. Not only did they get robbed, it was just obvious, too. It was that bad. And even if they got their asses kicked by Michigan, it doesn't matter, dude. You got to put the right teams in. And it's just, they should have gotten in. It shouldn't have been Bama. And then Kirk Herbstreit says, well, they got a lot of injuries. They lost their quarterback. That's the reason why they don't play. Like, and then I'm like, okay, but you got Bama in. Well, Bama has better ratings. You haven't looked at the results yet. Go look at the results of the ratings. I'm like, dude. Texas has better ratings. Florida has better ratings than Alabama does. Hell, even Georgia has better ratings than them. Hell, even Miami. UNC has better ratings than Alabama. There's no way. No, there's no way. And that's what I'm saying. Like, this is crap. Like Miami Hurricanes used to make the play. Like, they used to make the national title game in the early 2000s, and they used to be runner-up. And they had a bigger draw than Bama did. In Miami, everybody wanted to be a Miami Hurricane in the early 2000s. Jeremy, the other players that played there, but everybody wanted to be a Miami Hurricane. And now, like, they have better ratings than Bama does. Florida does too. But Prodigal Hill said this best. Disney hates Florida. And remember, Disney runs the SEC. Now, imagine this. They hate Florida because they hate DeSantis. You know, they hate DeSantis. That's why Disney is robbing all the Florida teams right now. They have a lot to do with the SEC. SEC is Disney, and I think Disney hates DeSantis so much they're willing to screw all the teams over as a result.
Which means Jacksonville, you won't get to the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
I mean, hey, can you imagine? Can you imagine? Jim Harbaugh coming out to the No Chance in Hell, walking like Vince McMahon, and just going, "Yeah, I'm coming in here."
Now, here's the ultimate one. Like I said, I got Dallas and Chiefs winning the Super Bowl. Okay, Chiefs are going to win on a controversial call. Jerry Jones runs down to the field and starts hulking up to the referees. You fucking robbed us! You robbed us! You! And then the referee's going to do this, you know, like they do that character, like where they
he's going to punch, and
another ref, he's going to slide down and just low blow Jerry, and Jerry's like, oh shit, you know, and when he falls over, the referee starts stomping him, and then Jerry Jones gets up. He's like, I thought you were going to give me my shot at the title, and then that's when fucking what's his name runs in there, Roger Goodell with a big championship trophy, that Lombardi, and just fucking whacks him over the fucking skull with it, you know.
Or be even more. It'll be more disheartening. Wait a minute, Jimmy Johnson's coming to help. Wait a minute, he grabs it. He hits Jerry Jones. What the hell?
Yeah, and then Dak Prescott's going to run in there. You know, he's already half fatigued because he had his match, and then that's when fucking what's his name comes behind him and hits him, fucking Patrick Mahomes. And Sheffer, that referee, they start stomping fucking Dak Prescott. So Dak Prescott's going to get spray painted the NWO, and then so is Jerry Jones, and it's going to be the referees and Andy Reid and them standing over him as a 3-time WWE champion.
Or it'll become a really heel thing to do. If Taylor Swift comes down there screws Kansas City, and she has a referee shirt. Then she takes the referee shirt off, and it's a Dallas Cowboys star.
Oh, oh,
And I'm like, that is the biggest.
Oh, damn, we're cooking. This makes a great storyline. Why not? Might as well just go all the way. Undertaker comes and tombstones Patrick Mahomes.
Then all of a sudden, Travis Kelce is about to hit Undertaker with a chair, and all of a sudden he turns around, Shawn Michaels super kicks him.
Oh yeah, the referee comes and super kicks him. That'd be fucking hilarious, dude. And it's melee, and all the guys are fighting in the middle of the ring. And then at the end, when it airs off the Super Bowl, you'll see like Patrick Mahomes like with kind of a bloody lip, and Andy Reid and them's like acts like he's holding Mahomes back, and then they're walking away with the belt, and all the faces are standing in the ring like Dak Prescott's like holding up Jerry Jones, and Jerry Jones like, "Come on in the ring, motherfucker! Come on, motherfucker! I'm not done fighting yet." And then it's gonna be like, well, that's the end of the Super Bowl. There, what will happen next on Monday Night War? Yeah, man. Oh.
You see Jerry Jones coming into the ring. He'd be like sitting in a chair. He's like, "There will be no NFL season until I find out who did this."
And then Monday Night Raw will feature the Chiefs like doing their like ceremonial like tribal the tribal chief storyline. Yeah. And they'll come out to the ring to booze depending on the city it's in, and they'll be in the ring cutting their promo, and Jerry Jones will like come out with Dak and some of the Cowboys legends, and they'll have like a little storyline for WrestleMania. About, whoa, we just make this official there, boy. WrestleMania 40 in Philly. That's right, Lincoln Financial Building. Kick y'all that candy ass.
And then like Patrick Mahomes is basically comes out and goes, it goes out there and goes, I'm number one. He does the whole Roman Reigns thing with the one up there, and everybody's following. And then all of a sudden, Tom Brady comes out of retirement and goes, like you can't see me. I'm Spygate.
And Aaron Rodgers cuts his promo and it starts a storyline with the Packers. Like it's beef with the Packers.
All of a sudden, Jordan Love's on top of that ladder. He's about to grab it. Wait a minute. That's Aaron Rodgers.
Dude, tell me this wouldn't be cool if we do a video on how if we did an NFL WrestleMania, what matches would we promote? And I think we could do Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre. Aaron Rodgers comes out as the heel, kind of annoying. He cuts his mic promos, and then Brett Favre as the face comes out, and they start going at it. They have a feud at Mania. So it'll be Brett Favre versus Aaron Rodgers. Then you could do the Chiefs versus the Cowboys for that storyline. That would be cool, man, for a little like NFL WrestleMania kind of fantasy, man. Maybe you should do that for your wrestling thing, man. And Eric,
I haven't done that in years, but it'd be kind of funny just to see like, wait a minute, that's Tom Brady. What the hell? Which side is he on?
I was also asking you to do this too. You should do a team Democrat versus team Republican, two rings that war games, and you could put Barack Obama, Bill Clinton. You could put Joe Biden and another Democrat. Like pick one, and then do team Republican and put like Trump. You could put whoever else like Christie or two other guys, that's kind of like close. Yeah, or like George Bush Jr. or George, and do like a friendly battle royal. Like, dude, that would be cool. You should do that.
Brett Favre just actually out Jim Duggan. Yeah, Brett Favre comes out for the WrestleMania match, goes, oh.
Dude, that's gonna be funny if Frable like does a storyline with the Titans where he defects. He like takes his shirt off and it's New England. He has like the New England logo. And like, don't worry about trading me that boy. He's committed to going to New England in that boy. Sometimes I do think that the Patriots coaching staff is losing on purpose because Belichick's behind it or Kraft. Like, do you ever wonder that sometimes?
I think so because it's weird because it seems like anytime a coordinator leaves New England, they never do very well as head coaches.
Yeah.
And it's I don't know if it's Belichick that's basically paying the referees for them not to do well, or if it's just He's like, look, here's an extra $100,000 for your grandkids' college tuition.
Okay, so Kev, what's your prediction on Roman Reigns? I mean, now that we're talking about wrestling, do you think he goes past Manny? Do you think he breaks Hogan's record? That's my prediction. What do you personally think happens with his title reign? Does he lose Mania? What happens? What do you think?
I know this is not a lot of fans are probably going to hate me for this, but I don't think he loses the record until the summer.
I said the same thing.
I mean, honestly, I just don't see. I mean, because he's got a part-time contract, so you can basically have him wrestle Elimination Chamber. They're gonna have him wrestle the Rumble, Elimination Chamber, WrestleMania, and WrestleMania Backlash, and then he could be gone for a couple months. Comes back, Cody Rhodes finally gets that story, beats Roman Reigns at SummerSlam, because I think what's going to happen is, to make sure that the bloodline doesn't screw, you're going to have all these faces come in, and they're all going to stop the bloodline from screwing, and then Cody Rhodes is finally going to beat Roman Reigns. Because I think if he loses the title, I think Roman Reigns is Hollywood's calling his name.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And he was in that one Fast and the Furious movie with Dwayne, anyway, The Rock. So I think Roman Reigns leaves WWE and goes to Hollywood.
Okay.
I mean, now,
but when does he lose? Do you think he breaks Hogan's record, or you think they're going to end it before that?
Yeah, I think he breaks Hogan's record. As much as that breaks my heart, but I honestly just think that they had that Gunther guy that he broke Honky Tonk Man's Intercontinental title record. So I think that they're going to have him break Hogan's record. There is no way they're going to have him break Bruno's. That would just take.
It would make no sense. I just think Hogan's that guy, because I think with the current wrestling fan base that doesn't know who Hogan is, and the kind of attitude at wrestling era fans, or let's say the ruthless aggression, or the one before that still watches wrestling, the older crowd, they can still start, okay, he beat Hogan's record, okay, and then the newer generation has something to relate to, and I think that's why they're doing it. It's a newer generation thing. They want to appeal to the newer audience, and that's understandable. So you're going to have him break Hogan's. That's going to be a significant record. And so the young crowd will have something to say. Oh, hey, Roman Reigns is the third all-time on the list, or I think he would pull into number 4 officially. He passed Hogan, because then there's 3 more guys ahead of him. I think it's Bob Backlund. Yeah. Bob Backlund, I think, and then I think it's 2, and then I think number 1 is Bruno. But I also think Bruno has another record before that. So I think that I don't see them going past 1,500 plus days. If so, then you're talking about heading into the 1,700, 1,800 range, and it just doesn't make logic sense. For them to do that, it wouldn't even sound, that don't even sound right. So breaking Hogan's record is probably the milestone they want to go to, and so to give the newer generation something to look at and say, hey, look,
I gotta be a heel with this comment here, because I'm a Hogan fan, and I'm about to say this to this younger wrestling generation. You guys should go ahead and have Roman Reigns. He breaks Hogan's record. Ooh, hooray! He breaks Hogan's record. Yay! However, Hogan wrestled 365 days a year when he held those for 4 years, and he bought bigger and tougher opponents than Roman Reigns.
I just think it's a newer age thing. Like LeBron James is going to hit the 40,000 point club.
Yeah,
we all know that he's not better than Jordan, but for the newer generation, they're going to enjoy that moment.
Speaking of that, when the Lakers won that cup, now you got these LeBron fans saying, "Well, he won a cup. Michael Jordan didn't win a cup, but he won a cup." I'm like, "What? That's not a championship." I mean, so what? Kobe didn't win a cup. Michael didn't win a cup. Whoopie-doo.
Now, here's the thing. LeBron James is currently at 39,440 points. So that means he needs 560 points to officially be the only NBA player to reach 40,000 points. He's already currently number 1, but he just needs 540 points, or 560, I'm sorry, to reach 40,000. I think he gets it, obviously, before the end of the season. So, I mean, if not, it'll definitely be in the beginning of the next year. But that'll be a milestone. And for the newer generation, I guess that's something to say that's cool. But for old heads, there's, it ain't going to mean anything about it,
If Kobe didn't get injured with that Achilles tendon, I think Kobe would have broke that record.
Absolutely.
beforehand. There's no ins buts about it on that. I think Kobe would have easily broken that record, and I think Kobe would have played another 2 or 3 years.
He still had 60 points in the final game against Utah in 2016. I think if he would have stayed another 2 years, you can make that argument, yeah.
Let it post and say here, the hillest thing ever. Have Jey Uso win Money in the Bank. Have Roman Reigns keep the title until next WrestleMania. Next year, Cody wins, faces Roman. Cody celebrates a victory. Jay cashes in and beats Cody.
Oh, that's fucked up.
Oh my gosh! But no, I mean, I look at these. I look at these young sports fans now, and they it's like they look at a guy like LeBron and they just think. And speaking of which, LeBron flops more than anybody I've ever seen in my life as far as getting. There's no way that a LeBron James could get drafted into the NBA in the 80s, and he can play that game against the Detroit Pistons bad boy Piston team. There's no way.
Not even Curry or any of the other guys.
No, because and that's what I'm saying. You had Boston with that big old team they had. They had the Lakers, and I'm like, so what are you gonna do?
Remember, hand checking was legal back then, and not only that, but hard hitting fouls were common. So you're not going to the layup and just think, "Oh, I'm just going for an easy layup." When you got Charles Oakley ramming his elbow on your side, you know.
I mean, to answer your question, Hunter, what's my thoughts on The Rock challenging Roman Reigns? I say it's about damn time.
I saw.
I think it's about time. They tried to do it last year, but The Rock said he wasn't able to get in shape now. And I'm sitting there thinking, wait a minute, you ain't been able to get in shape. You've been in shape for how many years now?
Facts.
I'm like, okay, it's fine. I mean, they're talking about having an elimination chamber in Australia instead of WrestleMania. I don't know if I would do that. I think if you want a big marquee matchup, you want The Rock and Roman at WrestleMania 40.
Absolutely. I don't think you don't, unless that match that takes place at Elimination Chamber ends quickly or something like, for example, a disqualification or interference by the wrestlers, something that kind of draws that match into Mania. But even then, I'm thinking if it's Rock versus Roman, I'm thinking you put it into Mania. And what you do is, a lot of people don't want to hear this, but you have Roman Reigns win. Why? Because this puts Roman Reigns under another WrestleMania, right? Another WrestleMania milestone. If The Rock wins, he's not really there to win a title. He would have to put Roman over. It would seem like the only strategic thing to do. So you put Roman Reigns over, then you let Roman Reigns continue, this is my yard now, and continue to push that into SummerSlam. Then when Cody beats him, it looks more realistic.
Because it would look like Roman went through everybody. Yeah, I mean, there is no way that The Rock's going to win this championship. I mean, people.
No, absolutely not. He doesn't walk out with the belt. No. Yeah, solo attacks The Rock. I agree with Hunter on that.
I honestly think this could happen. We're talking about the Royal Rumble, and everybody's talking about, is it going to be Cody going to win it or CM Punk going to win it? What if number 30 and there's 3 guys left between Punk, Cody, and someone else, and then you hear, if you smell with The Rock, and he decides to come down there and win the Royal Rumble.
They should have had The Rock. That's what I was thinking they should have done, was had The Rock win the Rumble and then challenge Roman, or have the Royal Rumble winner challenge the other champion. Who's the other champion?
Seth Rollins.
Then have that champion challenge Seth.
Well, Triple H's booking of WWE has been a lot. I've been impressed with it too. And it's a lot more better. Triple H knows what he's doing over Tony Khan, who's like, hey guys, I like you. Please come to AEW. I give you money. I've never been a Tony Khan fan. Never will be a Tony Khan fan.
Okay, so you're not an AEW fan at all.
No, I mean I'm not saying I don't like what some of the stuff of AEW. I think that Tony Khan needs to stay in the background and have someone else run day-to-day operations. Be that billionaire that stays behind the scenes and spends the money, but let someone else who's a wrestling-minded guy run it for you. And I think that that's where you need to be with that. Now, what could happen is if The Rock came back as the Hollywood Rock from 2003 after losing to Roman Reigns, and he decides that he wants to screw someone like LA Knight or Cody or something like that. You know, I can see something like that happening, but it all depends on how long you're going to have The Rock for, because you know the Hollywood strike's over, so it all depends on how long you have him for.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I don't think The Rock being champion really matters. I think at this point, it's just about, are you going to see a good match? And I think that Roman should win to look stronger if you're going to book him to lose the belt later down the line. And I think that's the strategy they should apply. Now, if he, let's say, kicks The Rock's ass at Elimination Chamber, and then you have Cody Rhodes just kind of win at Mania, I don't know, it kind of takes away from the purpose now, because it's like, well, what happened to the streak that you wanted to be of Hogan? I mean, didn't you want to put that on the record books to say that, you know, for the newer generation that he made a milestone before he exits? So I don't know. You know how WWE is. They always will you think they're going in one direction, they end up going in another. But I predict that he will hold the belt till SummerSlam. And I think Cody Rhodes or somebody will beat him for that belt, and then he'll surpass Hogan's record and maybe get to like 1,505 days or something like that.
I think what we're going to have is that I think there should be a YouTube WrestleMania. I think there should be Bob from Ravens Red Zone versus Athletic Dashy in a Raven. And if Dashy loses, he wears a Lamar Jackson jersey for a year.
Okay, so hold on. Let's see, 1474. Let me do the minus. Hold on. Let's say not 1474. 1474 minus. What is it? 1,218.
Yeah.
Roman needs a belt for 256 days. All right, so he would have to hold the belt for 256 days. 256, let's say, divided by, let's say, wait, hold on, not divided. It would say it's how many months? Let me see. Okay, so 8.5 months. So Roman would have to hold the belt today, 8.5 months. It's February, March, April, May, June, July. And when is it? In August?
Yep.
In August. So now you're talking about 7 months. So he's going to be a month and a half shy from breaking Hogan's record. So I'm curious to know what the strategy will be from there. If they're going to have him drop the belt at SummerSlam or have to win and then hold the belt longer. I don't know. WWE's got a tough decision to make there. You know, is breaking Hogan's record worth it? You know? That means he's going to have to hold the belt past SummerSlam. He'd have to hold it going into October. I don't know what event is in October. Is it Survivor Series?
Survivor Series is in November, so you would have.
Yeah, so to reach 1,500 days, he would need to hold the belt for another 20-something. So he would have to hold the belt basically to the Royal Rumble of the fall of 2025. But then if you're going to have until Mania.
Unless Stephen Hogan comes in there and goes, that doesn't work for me, brother.
Hogan comes in and defeats or faces Roman to try to end the streak.
All of a sudden, like Hogan throws like powder in his face and low blows him, and then pins Roman Reigns, and then goes, "I'm retiring with the championship, dude."
Or they do the finger poke of death, and then they do the NWO. Wolfpack definitely in the house, and it's back, brother. You know, all the old NWO members that are still alive, they come out with the NWO music, and they're all now part of the new NWO 2024.
You put Bloodline together, called the NWO line.
Oh, do you think LA Knight will win the title after Cody wins it?
Honestly, I think LA Knight is. I mean, I like Cody, but I think LA Knight's a little bit more popular right now, and he's got more of the old school feel to him that we as wrestling fans grew up with. He's got a little bit of The Rock mixed in with Austin, so he's kind of got that. I think he's going to be the big one that everybody's looking for.
Do you think John Cena has a match at Mania?
I don't know. I think if Cena was to wrestle, Cena would probably have to wrestle him. He'd probably have to wrestle us. I would love to see John Cena wrestle a broomstick and have like John Cena versus John Cena, but you can't see him, and see what happens with that. Like the broomstick wins or something. Or
How about this? John Cena has a match, and if he wins every title from everybody in the world. Like all your accomplishments are now his.
oh God, Lord!
Wouldn't that suck if he won that match and you actually got a letter in the mail that said you have to vacate every championship you won as a kid and you have to leave it outside because Cena's going to pick it up? And you saw the neighbors actually like taking all like their basketball trophies and everything. Cena's got employee of the month on every building.
And then Cena takes over the song about "You or Me" one. Cena.
Now, here's a better one. Marvin told me this the other day, and I laughed my ass off hysterically. John Cena has a match, and if he wins, then he gets to personally blow the earth up with a rocket, like a giant rocket. And he wins the fucking match. And then the announcers go, well, I guess that's the end of times. You know, it's nice knowing you guys. And Cena's like standing in a fucking spaceship that's outside of the earth with Elon, and he's like ready to fucking zap the fucking earth. Wouldn't
I
that
don't know. We may have to ask Cena. I may have to ask Polson if he still can get John Cena back on here for me. You know, because Cena has the answers.
You think LA Knight will win the title? Oh yeah, we already said that. Stone Cold another match. Do you think he can get another match, Stone Cold?
I think Stone Cold did well with the last one. I think he's open to it. I just think last year he was busy filming a TV show. He didn't have the time to dedicate to do it.
Stone Cold would look good against Cena. Both of them fight.
I think that would be a good one. I think if you weren't going to do if you weren't going to do Seth versus CM Punk, I would do Stone Cold versus Punk. But yeah, Cena and Austin would be pretty good to see if they can get it done. Or Stone Cold's in The Rock's corner for the Bloodline.
Okay, so for the Royal Rumble, my question is: do we see any surprise entries? Yeah, not really, huh?
I think we'll see AJ Lee back, the wife of CM Punk.
Really?
I think so. Yep. I think we'll see that. I think we'll probably see. I don't know about the men's. It would be kind of funny if MJF decided to troll everybody and comes on WWE.
Oh shit!
You know, I think that would be kind of a fun thing. But anyway though. But I will say this though about speaking about the Titans again. The one thing I will say about them though is that they played hard on these certain games. Certain games they've lost. I'm like, man, they should have won this one. They could have won this one. But I think with this Titan team, they are playing with what you call it's kind of like they're playing with no heart, no soul, no nothing. And I think Will Levis is the guy that has the keys to make this happen. We just got to have the right people around him. If we don't have the right people around him, then he's going to get hurt and we're going to lose another chance to having a good quarterback. And I think that's it's a passing league. I mean, but then again, though, you look at a guy like CJ Stroud, and he's being successful with a defensive-minded coach at D'Amico Ryans. So, do you really have to be an offensive-minded coach, or is it just the fact that Mike Vrabel is set in his own ways, like we talked about, and D'Amico's not?
Well, like I said, D'Amico's barely new. He's a year going into this, so he has that
right
energy. But of course, 3 or 4 years from now, we'll see where he's at. But the thing is that I think for the Titans, again, depending on where you finish, if you're in the top 10 pick, let's just say hypothetically, you don't get that Marvin Harrison Jr., you don't get that offensive lineman that you think you should get. it's either you draft another need or you trade down and acquire a bunch of late first round assets. And that way you can go strategy. You can draft still second tier receivers, top receivers. You can go offensive line, defensive line, secondary. You can address all those. And in the meantime, before that, figure out what Derrick Henry's status is. What can we attain from that? I think it's time to move on from him. And then as far as Vrabel is concerned, definitely that should be addressed in the offseason and go from there. But I think if you're Will Levis, like, yeah, you can go with the Mike Vrabel, but then you can go with the young guy who's fresh, somebody that has a fresh look at it. And that is going to be on that journey, that learning experience with Levis that's probably going to help him motivate him, you know?
The one thing I will say for anybody that never wants to think about the Titans in a certain way, you look at the Titans and look at Rent Carthon. He's their GM. This is his first year as GM, but he was a scout for the San Francisco 49ers. He helped build that team that the 49ers have right now. So I have all faith in him as a GM that they're going to switch this around. They're going to get this done because he's very good at scouting players. And I feel like that's something that I feel like Vrabel is not good at doing, is scouting other players. Vrabel is just kind of, his mentality is, if you get hurt, next man up. Well, okay, next man up, but what if you don't have the right personnel to fit your system?
Facts.
That's where we're at with that situation, and he's not willing to listen to reason a lot of times. He's just, I feel like when he fires someone, he's being forced to fire someone. I feel like Vrabel's just kind of, he's very set in his own ways, and I know that comes from the New England way of thinking too. That comes from that Belichick way of thinking. Because we sit in our own ways, I'm not changing shit.
The only thing is, I would say in Vrabel's defense is, to be fair, is you gotta. It looks like a rebuild's coming, and maybe he doesn't look intrigued by that. He wanted it to work out with Tannehill, who's already experienced. But if you bring in Levis, maybe Vrabel can work with him, still has some of that veteran. Maybe it might help recharge him in the offseason. But then again, you would have to see what moves they're going to make. Derrick Henry's got to go. You probably got to look at your draft needs, go from there. But I think Vrabel, at least, I think, or at most, probably has another year before he's really on the hot seat.
I think if they get a bunch of players in the offseason and they get the draft that they need and everything like that, and they still play bad and they're still 5-11 or 6-12 or whatever the case may be, then I would probably say that Vrabel needs to be fired at that point. If this happens again and you give him another chance and this happens again, then Vrabel should be held responsible. And
okay.
that's.
So what do you do with Ryan Tannehill? Do you keep him as backup?
I think we get a better backup. I think that Tannehill is just. I mean, I don't know if you saw it, but when Will Levis got hurt in that game against Houston, the first one, you could see Tannehill on the sidelines kind of laughing, smiling about it. And I'm sitting there thinking, I think Tannehill's time in Tennessee is done. Unless he goes, you let him go test the free agent market, and nobody wants him. And then he comes back to Tennessee and he goes, okay, well, I'll play for 2 years for $10 million or something like that as a backup. Then I would be like, okay, let's talk. But he's not going to get that $30 million big old contract he got before.
No, absolutely not. I would say that I could see Tannehill staying as maybe a backup, but I would definitely believe Willis is still on that rookie contract, right?
Yes. Yeah, he's still under that contract.
That's. I mean, honestly, I would probably let Tannehill test the free market and go ahead and pick up a second tier guy in the draft, or maybe even not in the draft, but in the free agency, and see who's available, and then see a Tyrod Taylor or something, like just somebody just to fill that void, just to fill it, something new, something refreshed, and then from there in the draft, my strategy from there would be, okay, well, then what are we going to do with Derrick Henry? What are we going to trade him for? And what are we going to acquire for that? You can trade him. And I mean, look, if his trade value's down and it's sort of like strike when the iron's semi warm, I will take a 4th or 5th rounder for him if all else fails. I'd rather have something than nothing. And if teams are going to leverage that against me and say, well, he's going to test the free market anyway, then I'll say, okay, I'm willing to listen to offers, and whichever's the highest number, the highest number to one, the closest to one, I take. So if it's a 3rd round pick's the best, I'll take it. And then you take what you can get, and then that way you can go forward with where your draft position is in the draft, top 10 pick. If I don't get a receiver or an offensive lineman, I'm going to trade down and acquire later round picks into that 1st and possibly 2nd rounder, and then go from there.
I think if you don't like what you see at that, if you're the Titans and you don't like anybody on that on your board, and
that's a draft league,
you would draft down and get a bunch of capital. I think that would be the best bet to go at that point, because then you can fit a bunch of players to fit a bunch of needs that you need. And Hunter was telling me that Mason Rudolph might be a good backup because the Steelers may not re-sign him, and he might be a good backup for the Titans.
Is Hunter new to your channel, or has he been on here before?
Oh, I know him because we actually gamed together, so I know him.
Oh, cool. I thought maybe he's just someone new that might have stumbled along your live. Okay, that's cool.
He's a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. He's a Steelers fan, but you know I don't know. Mason Rudolph would be a good one. Tyrone Taylor would be a good backup. I would not sign Carson Wentz. I wouldn't sign Carson Wentz if I was anybody, but yeah, I would see something like that. I mean, I think that you let Tannehill test the market. I could see Tannehill being a backup for someone like Carolina, or I could see him being a backup for Washington, Commanders. I could see him being a backup of something of that nature, or I could see him backing up New England and backing up Matt Jones if they decide to get rid of Matt Jones.
Interesting.
You know, I could see something to that nature with Tannehill probably, or Russell Wilson could probably take over New England. I mean, there's a lot of different things we could do with that, but
yeah. I'll be honest with you. I think after that second half of the Titans game, like everything we talked about prior to that week, I completely changed on everything. I'm like, Derrick Henry's got to go.
Yeah.
Mike Vrabel is kind of now is come to question with his complacency and stubborn ways. Is he going to be the right fit for a rebuild that's coming? Now, D-Hop, is he going to want to sit through that rebuild? But I wouldn't call it rebuild. I'd call it retool, because if you like the quarterback that you got, this technically is not a rebuild. We're retooling around the quarterback. It's only a rebuild if we're going with another quarterback. No, we're sticking with this guy. So I think that would be enough to keep Hopkins, find him a number 2 guy, and trade Derrick Henry, and then go from there. Draft needs, O-line, D-line, secondary and stuff. But most importantly, figure out also what the head coaching job with Vrabel. If the Patriots are willing to knock on your door and say, hey, Big Kev, we'll offer you a 1st-round pick for him, I would say deal.
Or if another team that secretly comes in there that's not New England, that gets rid of a coach and they secretly want Mike Vrabel and they offer that.
Same thing.
You have to look at it. You have to look at that and think about whether or not you would want to pull that trigger. I mean, I would listen. If I was the general manager of the Titans, I would seriously listen to the offer. I would basically be like, okay, what are you willing to give me? I mean, now I would also go to Mike and I would go like, hey, do you still want to be the coach of this football team? Because if you do, then you need to show me that you want to be. If you don't, and that's the problem with Vrabel. Vrabel likes to call out a bunch of team players for being injured. That's why some Titan players have left. But if you've seen, a lot of Titan players that have left have also gotten success after leaving.
Question, how many more years is Vrabel under his deal?
I think I'm not mistaken, maybe 3 or 4 more years.
Okay, now, oh God. Now, assuming he doesn't get any trade offers for him, let's say New England doesn't knock on that door. Mm-hmm. Do you keep him? Do you just let him keep him for another year? I mean, what would be the strategy there?
I think if you're the general manager and you're Amy and you're the owner, Amy Adams, you have to sit him down and be like, look, we need to make changes on the offensive coordinator, the defensive coordinator. You need to stay out of it. Let them call the plays that they want to call. and we're giving you all these other new players now. We're giving you the keys, and show us that you're that coach of the year in 2021. And if you're not, you're gone.
Do you think this is his final? Let's say he doesn't get any offers. So next year, do you see it that's his final year? Like,
I think if the Titans give him everything he needs, and they still play the way they're playing, then yeah, I would say this is over for him. There's no way he would come back from that.
okay, so he hasn't made the postseason in what, 3 years, 2 years?
He hadn't made the postseason, and like this will be the second season he ain't made the post. Well, his first coaching year, they were in the playoff hunt. They were 9-7. This is before but they didn't make it. So this will be the third time in his 6th season they have not made the playoffs.
Okay, so in 6 years he's had a 50% playoff success rate.
Right, he's 2 or 3 in the playoffs. He's got the record of like 50 plus wins and 40 plus losses.
Okay, so he's like a Bill O'Brien kind of average, because Bill O'Brien was around that same record.
Right, yeah. So he's at that average point. And to answer your question, Hunter, which team do I think Derrick Henry would be picked up? Oh man, I can see Derrick Henry going to somewhere like Philly. I can see Derrick Henry going to Dallas.
That's what I think. Dallas. I think Dallas will consider that move.
I think we can see Derrick Henry going to. Now, it wouldn't be fair, but if Derrick Henry was the backup for San Francisco and you have him and Christian McCaffrey together, I would be scared if I was anybody facing the 49ers at that point. I maybe Carolina, but I think he would want to play with a team that's going to win. I don't think he would want to go with a team.
It has to be a contender. Dallas, San Fran, a contender.
Like Baltimore, Buffalo. I can even see him trying to go to Cincinnati. And
anywhere where they need a running back that's going to be of his services.
Right. I feel like that would be, if you put him in a situation where he's going to be able to go to the playoffs and have a chance to win a championship, I think that's where Derrick Henry will go.
I can see Baltimore maybe making that, because their other guy tore his ACL or Achilles in the game against us, though. I forgot his name. That running back for Baltimore.
Oh,
J.K. Dobbins?
Yeah, Dobbins, yeah.
Yeah. He tore his Achilles in the first game against us. And I'm not saying he probably won't be back by next year, but they could have Derrick Henry come in and be a complement to that. So that's a possibility. But, man, if Niners sign him, they'll be so effective at the run game. They'll have a play design where McCaffrey and him are both holding the ball simultaneously or running and blocking.
Hey, people don't think this, but Derrick Henry's got 4 touchdown passes as a Titan. He's actually thrown touchdown passes and wildcat plays, so he can
be used effective in certain scenarios. And then as a power running back, remember, Henry doesn't have to run for 100 yards anymore. But if he does, hey, so be it. But he may have a little juice in the tank. But Derrick Henry's the kind of compliment back if you're on the goal line stance and you're first and goal in the 9 and you want to take those runs. You'd be that power back that could push those linebackers back and thus, move the ball up.
Now if you're Derrick Henry and you go to Dallas and Dallas has that offensive line, I could see. I mean, you might see a resurrection in that, and that would probably put a lot of pressure off of Dak to not try to take over the game. And
because they don't got Zeke anymore, so now you have Derrick Henry. So I think Dallas to me makes the most sense. And I can see Jerry's role taking a risk on that.
I can see Jerry Jones taking a risk on it. I mean, now if I'm any team right now, I don't know if I would trade for Derrick Henry. I'd let him get to March where he's a free agent.
Oh, facts.
Why give the Titans anything now? Because they didn't pull the trigger, and that's something that I still don't understand. I still wouldn't understand why they traded their best defensive back and Kevin Byard, trade him to the Eagles but not trade Derrick Henry was still beyond me on that point. And I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that they would have traded him. They would have had to deal with Derrick Henry's money for that year. And
Oh, that's what it is.
yeah, I think that's what it was. They would have had to deal with that last money deal or that, and they would have had to spend. They would have had to pay for it, and I don't think that's what the Titans wanted to do. So letting him walk helps them in the cap part of it, but it doesn't really help them as far as getting picks, though.
No, you're absolutely right.
But I do think this team does bounce back, and I do think that they'll get the right personnel in here. Do I think it's going to do I think it's going to happen overnight? No. I think the Titans might still struggle next year. I think it's going to be one of those things where we're going to see Will Levis throw 3,000, 4,000 yards. I think that's going to happen, and I think you're going to see D-Hop get another 1,000 yards receiving. But I think that we're going to at a point where I think that we're just – I mean, if you start seeing that team not play very well and they got good players on there and they're still not playing well, then you have to question whether or not they want to play for Mike Vrabel. And that's where we're at that point.
So if you're the Titans, do you tank this week and try to get a higher pick in the draft, or do you just say fuck it and try to beat the Jags?
Well, you don't want to go 0. Well, the Titans are already 0-6 right now in the division. I don't know if you want to go 0-7, which I think they will, because I don't see them beating Jacksonville. But if you want to play spoiler and knock out the Jags, who knocked you out last year, I could see that being a focal point. And they may not want to lose Derrick Henry's last game at home. I think that could be where you're at on that situation. And maybe they do get a win and they get 6 wins and stuff. I know some Titan fans will be pissed. Like, we should lose so we can get a higher draft pick. Like, it's like these fans do not understand. Like, Titan fans, the problem I have with them, Steven, is this. And this is what I'll tell anybody. The problem I have with them is whenever the Titans are playing well, they come out of the woodwork, they put their Titan stuff on, they're like, tighten up. And then as soon as the Titans struggle, it's like, fire this guy, fire that guy, get rid of this guy, bench that guy, bench this guy. And I'm just like, it's like I have disgust for most Titan fans around here because I don't see them being the real, to me, they're not being true to themselves, because you've been through it, I've been through it. You have to go through the highs and lows.
Yeah, we haven't made the playoffs. The last time we made it, we lost to the Chiefs in the 2019 season. So It's been a while for us. Like, I think we've been through 4 seasons without a playoffs. One under David Culley, one under Lovie Smith, and then the last one under Belichick. I mean, not Belichick. I meant Bill O'Brien. So, yeah, we missed 3. This is the 4th season now officially since that 2019 infamous. And like I said, if we win, we're in. But if we lose on Saturday, then we're out. So that would be a 4th season. But I'm okay with it because I think where we're at, we're rebuilding. So I think the Texans are in a very good position to build for the future. And like I said, I think that that's what I said when you asked me earlier, win, lose, or draw, it doesn't faze me because the Texans have exceeded my expectations. They've drafted since 2020. We got 25 people on that roster that are still starting and stuff. So that's good. That means since 2020, the Nick Caserio way has been building for this team, putting that building block there. So we got the quarterback inserted. So we got a first year going on second year head coach with history here as a Texan from 06 to 11.
Yeah.
And that success in San Francisco, stuff like that. So the pieces are there. It's just the build, the camaraderie, the cohesiveness from there. So if we lose this week on Saturday, the Colts, which I predict it's a possibility, because the Colts are, I think, a very, very good offensive team, and they're kind of a lights on, lights off team. And statistically, they do good against us. That's why I predict that they'll probably most likely win. But I'm saying if we win, all power to us. But if we lose, I think it's still the successful season that we've had, exceeding that expectations and building for the future, to me is bright.
All right. Now, before I end this, I know I have to go eat dinner.
I know.
But I have to say, you know what? Deshaun Watson must be really shooting himself in the foot because you left, Houston gets rid of you. You go to Cleveland, you get injured, and now you got Joe Flacco possibly leading this team to the playoffs while you're sitting on the bench.
Facts. I think Cleveland might even release him.
I mean, honestly, I look at it like this: if Joe Flacco's resurrected his career, Joe Flacco looks like the Flacco that won that Super Bowl with the Ravens, and Cleveland right now is a hot team, and they got some momentum going. And I honestly, if I'm, because I will say this: the Ravens are going to get that. The Ravens are going to get that bye already.
Yeah, they got the number 1 seed locked up, I think.
Yeah, so I think they're already going to have the bye. It's going to be interesting to see what happens going forward, and I do believe that you guys will beat the Colts, and I honestly believe that because it would be one of those things where, and I think that C.J. Stroud will probably win Rookie of the Year. I mean, there's really no reason why I don't see him winning Rookie of the Year.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Man, this was exciting. Hey man, 2 hours and 12 minutes. Is it okay if I upload this video to my channel tomorrow? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. All right, thanks, man. I appreciate it. Hey, thank you for having me on. Like I said, before I go, I just want to say the Tennessee Titans can fix this in the offseason. I think, like you said, when was the last time I made the postseason?
2021.
Okay, so it's been 2 years since. Okay. Yeah, Vrabel's, there's definitely going to be decisions to be made, but like you said, unless Patriots are begging for that number 1, offering the number 1 pick, I say Vrabel will at least stay another year. But definitely they have to make decisions with the draft and everything. Y'all need O-line, y'all need D-line, you need defensive backs. You need the Derrick Henry move needs to happen. You need to draft a number 2 receiver. So, yeah, this offseason is going to be very interesting for the Titans. So, just got to see what happens from there,
And Hunter said in the comment that you're a Houston fan. You must be proud of your rookie quarterback. Of course he's proud.
Oh, yeah. Hunter, if you want to see the video where we talked about the Rig College sports and stuff, you go on my channel, check out the live stream of me and Prodigal Hill, where we did the first half of the Texas-Michigan game. You'll see Texas versus Michigan, We talk all about college football, just roasting the shit out of it and stuff. And
I'll redo the description and I'll put him on there and I will change a little bit to the title because I got to change the part, say maybe sports discussion after it.
Like I said, Kev, if you ever want to do collabs, whether it's on your channel or mine in the future, I'm all open for it. I think you and Prodigal would make a great collab. Maybe even add Ogden in there. We can have great discussions. Maybe invite more people, or if not, maybe if it's just me and you sometimes. Either or, I'm cool with it.
Man, if I known y'all were talking bad about college football, I would have been like, "Hey!"
To the shit out of college football, and we made it funny, like we did earlier. Like me and Prodigal, we just got to go hear my Mickey Mouse voice, and we killed it earlier. So
you better know it. Okay, yeah, but I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate Ogden coming on. Thanks to Hunter and Polson and other people that have made comments on there. I will put Stevens Rose video, his channel in the description, and you can go also if you're subscribed to him. This video will be on his channel as well, so you guys get a chance to look and make your comments on it. And I would just have to say, if the Titans are not in the playoffs, my wife's from South Jersey, so I have to kind of go for the Eagles at this point. So,
okay.
So I have to kind of go with the Birds right now at this point.
All right. Well, thanks for having me on, man, and you enjoy your meal. All right.
You too, guys.